Welcome, everybody, to Intensity Broadcasting. My name is Josh Hall. This is the SCSRA Morris Customs Truck Series All-Star Clash. We're getting ready to kick off the season here with a little all-star racing before we get the season officially underway next week. Of course, my name is Josh Hall. This is the SCSRA Morris Customs Truck Series here on iRacing. See a couple drivers, the new names in familiar places, such as the 10 of Jake McCarty right here. See Atlee Weiss giving a push to the 00 there in that 78 cookout machine. Couple new names, though, here in the series. That 00 he's pushing, that is Jacob Albert. I'll see a couple new faces here. The 23 of Jason Kraft. Right behind, we see the of Atlee. We see the 69 of Edward Manning. So looks like we'll have a pretty big field here tonight, as we have a little bit of a different format for the All-Star race tonight. We're going to have the Open, which is going to be two separate races. It'll be one race with two separate stages, a 10-lap stage. That winner will advance on to the main event, and then a 15-lap stage, and that winner will move on to the main event. It looks like we got Joe Wright in the booth with us here tonight to join us.
Yeah, Josh, I'm pretty stoked actually to call this first one with you. It's going to be a wild one. A lot of rookies in the field, so we'll get a good look at see what these guys can do.
Yeah, and I saw some drafting earlier, and seemed like we were able to run a pretty big pack pretty well, as practice is just finishing up here, and we're getting ready to qualify.
Yeah,
Joe,
there should be some really good racing here, Josh. A lot of guys are going to drop off from the server as they'll be in the next race. They're already locked in, but these guys racing for a spot in that All-Star Clash. So
we saw you out there in the pack there doing a little draft, and how did the trucks handle in the draft with the new update that iRacing has implemented?
so it's been pretty good so far. Something I noticed a little different is the force feedback. They've changed some stuff with the force feedback, going linear, non-linear. Guys haven't had their stuff reset, so you're going to see some guys who, if they don't tune their stuff, could be a little bit all over the place here. So that should be interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, and I know some people really like to crank that steering ratio down. Guys like us that like to run that 8-1 or that 10-1, where some guys like to crank that up to 16-1. So it can really, especially if you don't have that dialed in just right, that force feedback, it can really change the way your car handles.
Yeah, and typically if you're in a 10-1 and you hit the auto button, which is the way I do my force feedback, it used to be around like 16-ish. I noticed that it's up around 21, 22 right now, so it's different. Some things have changed definitely with the steering. So we'll see if those guys have taken that into account and if they're doing their homework on that. So.
For sure, as we see our first driver out there getting his lap underway, and that is the 62 of Michael Dunn. Just came.
Love the paint job.
Yeah, I know you're a big Darrell Waltrip fan growing up, so seeing that paint job, I know something you like to see.
It's funny to me because back in the day we used to run our favorite drivers' paints. Now we run our own. So.
This is very true. Let's see who else is out there on track right now for new guys. See the 69 of Edward Manning in that Navy machine.
Yeah, Edward Manning, a Navy vet, I believe, coming out here turning some laps in the 69. So that's good to see. Welcome aboard, Edward.
And the 00 of Jacob Albert.
And Jake's run a couple of races with us at the end of last season. He looked pretty good in what I could see.
All right.
Oh, we got Devin Bacino back in the booth here as well. So we got a little three-man crew going on.
How we doing, guys?
Doing well.
Great.
We're got qualifying underway right now. It looks like Eli Lewis currently at the top of the board in that 03 machine.
Yeah, and Eli, during drafting there in practice, real aggressive. So we should see an aggressive style from him here at the Super Speedway races. He raced with us previously, right, Josh?
I believe he ran a couple races, and then had to quit out, but ended up coming back as Zachary Cox currently jumps up to the top of the board. So we'll see how he's able to perform here tonight.
Zach, no stranger to super speedway racing. He actually does pretty well each season with us there, so he should be running pretty good. We'll see how he does here in the race, though. Got to have friends at Talladega.
That is for sure, and I'm sure a lot of these new guys, there's the wily vets out there who are going to know who they're going to want to run with. Guys like Brian Merle Jr. and Brian Canuti, and even yourself, you know who you want to run around, Dave or Joe and Devin. So it's these new guys trying to figure out who they can work with, and some of the wily vets finding out who the new guys that they can work with to get themselves in a position to win here tonight.
Devin, toward the end of last season, I figured out I couldn't push you, right? Is that how that happened?
Yeah, regardless of if it was super speedway or not, I could not take pushes from the 82 machine.
As Manning comes across and takes the white flag on his attempt here, and he's currently in the 5th position.
Yeah, typically that first lap is going to be the fastest one, Josh. So typically, usually that second one, and I did a lot of testing on this. That second one in the trucks is not going to be much faster unless you run some sort of weird first lap. You might be able to match what you would do on the first lap typically, but not necessarily.
How about, speaking of throwbacks here, how about the 99 of Austin Blaylock here in the race as well?
Welcome back, Mr. Blaylock. And we'll see what he can do. He's one of the guys that I would have looked for in a super speedway race. So we'll see what he can do here as well.
I think a really good storyline to watch too is there are quite a few sets of teammates in this one. I mean, I know we got 3 IDBC guys. We have 2 Spare Parts Motorsports guys, and then we got 4 guys over at APX Motorsports. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how these teams can get it done in 10 laps and then 15 laps.
Yeah, Atman in practice, Atlee Weiss just running with only his teammates, not wanting to push with anybody else. So, like you said, definitely something to watch here. Good storyline.
Well, qualifying is over already. Let's take a look at our starting lineup, and on pole will be the 23 of Jason Kraft. Michael Perlvalt will roll off from the 2nd position. Derek Chaput and Dave Hartney will round out row number 2. Then we'll find Michael.
Josh, I'm going to go with that's probably not correct.
I was going to say, I don't believe these are the correct lineup. So let's get that off the screen. And once we get rolling here, since we've got such a long pace lap, we'll be able to sort things out here tonight. But yeah, I mean, who are you guys looking for here tonight in the clash to get things done?
I don't know, man. I want to see my boy Atman make it into the next round. He's so used to being full throttle around Langley, pushing and drafting. He does pretty well at super speedway races. I mean, he's learned a lot in the last couple of years, so we'll see what he can do tonight. How about you, Devin?
Yeah, I'm gonna lean that way as well. I'm sure I'm a bit biased, but we've definitely turned a ton of laps with the IDBC guys. And I'm all for those rookies showing up and making us put our foots in our mouths. But we know that Jeffrey Belk's super talented. David Hartney, he loves these restrictor play races, and Atlee as well. If there's 2 tracks that Atman loves to go after and get it, that's not under half a mile. It's Daytona and Talladega. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm also going to put Atlee in that group as well because he knows how to get it done on these super speedways. He's put a lot of work in. And I'm going to go a little off here as well. And that 79 Timothy Stubblefield looked pretty good in practice, pretty stable. So I think he might have something here for these guys as well. So as we're getting drivers gridded up here, I want to thank you for joining us again, watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or Twitch. We do appreciate you joining us here tonight. Of course, don't forget to check out our partners down below. You can find our web store down at intensitybroadcasting.com for your hats, t-shirts, coffee mugs, all your iRacing apparel found at intensitybroadcasting.com. Don't forget to check out Race EPI for all your setups and coaching need. Here on iRacing, of course, let's not forget about our great partners, the Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker is an established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. The patented design makes them incredibly accurate, powerful, and virtually indestructible. The Gamer Plus is a new and upgraded sim haptic that reproduces immersive, accurate, and powerful sim racing, flight sim, and gaming effects. Check out the full line of Butt Kicker products. Figure out which one's right for you. Visit thebuttkicker.com.
I'll tell you what, that butt kicker that I have, Josh, it's awesome. I love it. I can feel every rumble strip, every shift of the gear, everything. It's the greatest thing. For immersion purposes, there's nothing better than that butt kicker.
Not just for immersion, but I feel it helps me out as well because I can really feel when the truck is starting to slide around, and I like feeling those gear shifts as well and feel the revs of the motor. But so let's take a look, see what the exact order is going to be. So it looks like Jason Kraft on the inside, starting in row one, position one, with Dave Hartney to the outside. Then we'll find the 97 of Dave Hatsuma with Tony Stubblefield rolling off in P4. Then we'll find the 97 of, the 78 of Atlee Weiss and Austin Blaylock in row number 3. And then the 54 of Jeffrey Belk and Atlee Weiss to his outside, excuse me. And then we'll find Zachary Cox down on the low side with Eli Lewis to the outside, and Jacob Albeard will be rounding out the field here in the Open. Again, first stage will be 10 laps. And the winner will automatically move on to the main event. Then we'll have a 15-lap shootout to send our second driver to the main event.
If you're wondering who the rookies are, those orange stripes across their windshield, that will point them out for you. So you'll be able to tell who the new guys really are here and some of the veterans as they get going.
So here we go. In here at Talladega, that start-finish line is pushed way past the end of the tri-oval here. So Jason Kraft's going to lead them down this long straightaway or long tri-oval to bring us down to the starting zone. And there it is. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing here, all-star racing at Talladega. And Dave Hartney already has no friends up on that high side, and that is not what you want as they make their way down into turns 1 and 2 for the first time.
It won't be long before he has help on that outside line. You can guarantee that, Josh, as you see someone closing into him right now. That's the 79 machine, I believe. And they're gonna start getting that momentum going at 4 cars on the outside. Atlee Weiss, the 4th in that line. Looks like they got another guy, 2 more actually. They're gonna even this thing up. They'll be dead even going into turns 3.
And the bot squad already chime in. We see Colin Willems saying, "Let's go, Atman." You see a big wiggle out of that 78 machine a little further back. But he's tucked right there on the back bumper of Austin Blaylock as they come down the little front stretch down into the tri-oval.
Yeah, these guys just kind of taking their time. They're not really pushing it too hard, it looks like right now. You see a little bit of space there between the 99 and the 78. Typically when it's coming down to the line, you're going to see guys all over the back of each other.
Just going to bring that up, Joe. How many laps do you think it's going to be until we see that third lane try and come into formation?
I'm thinking these guys are going to get going here real quick. You see a good run here from Manning on the outside right now. Maybe he takes it outside, maybe he doesn't. I don't think he's going to have much help there right now.
Those are the 2 spare parts teammates in the back there, Manning and Albert. I would say, I didn't mention him earlier, but Jacob Albert, he's a really talented driver. I think he showed up to every recruitment race we had. He's going to definitely be one of the guys to watch here, especially for Rookie of the Year as well.
And like I said, there's a lot of space on that high line. If you're trying to keep it cool, waiting for the last couple of laps maybe to send in that effort. I think these guys are just trying to keep it clean right now.
Well, we already got 3 wide racing as Edward Manning jumps up to the high side. He's got some help from the 00 of Jacob Alberg as they're trying to make that high lane start to form up already, but now they're going to tuck back in line behind Atman as the field goes back 2 by 2.
Yeah, Josh, typically you're going to need 3, maybe 4 cars on there to get anything done. 2 cars can get a good run, maybe make it about halfway, 3/4 of the way to the front, but they're not going to be able to make it all the way to the front. We're going to see the 62 jump up to that high line. He's going to lead the front.
Yeah, big jump up to the high line as we see that is, Michael Dunn up on the high side, but it looks like he threw the parachute out as he's dragging that top lane backwards.
As soon as he jumped up, I saw Atlee swing down to the bottom. Maybe he didn't like that move. He's going to hang out there on the bottom. But Hartney, not a stranger to pushing. A really good pusher on Super Speedway is going to shove him down through the tri-oval.
Yeah, me and him worked together really well at Talladega. The last race of the SCSRA season last year, the Xfinity Series. So I know he's good at pushing. I know he's good at being pushed. And we see him working right now with that 62 machine. And with 7 laps to go, people are starting to see who they can get comfortable with, as we thought a 3-line move for a second there. Something about to get strung out in the middle.
Yeah, but we're watching these two rookies on the bottom lead the field with really no pressure from the outside. Too many guys, trying to figure something out, and these two rookies just pushing along 1-2.
Yeah, Zachary.
Those are APX teammates, so if someone's going to try and make a move, I would expect it to be that third car in line, Jeff Belk, or him looking for one of those IDBC guys to get in line with them so they can make an attack on these two OPX drivers.
Yeah, now
Eli is actually going to be a great pusher for Belk if they hook up together too. Oh, there goes Belk now.
Yeah, Belk tried jumping up in front of Zachary Cox, was not able to. Now he's stuck in the sucker hole in the middle as Cox and Hartney rip that high lane up on the high side, trying to make something go as they're 3 wide as they come down off of turn number 2.
No help, going to be tough coming off that high line.
But here comes the help in the form of those two rookies. That is the 69 and the 00 up on the high side. Now we got 4 cars hooked up on the high side, 3 cars in the middle, and the rest of the field down on the bottom as they are now 3 wide throughout the field as they make their way through turns 3 and 4.
That's a stacked high line. If they can get organized, that thing will go. 4 of those guys, and if they get back, past even Austin, they'll get some more up. But it looks like it just fell apart.
Yeah, it looks like things are starting to spread themselves back up now as Eli Lewis now up into the 5th position. Down on that low side, trying to make something happen. Can't really push the pusher, though. You got to stay right there on the back bumper without making contact.
Ooh, a little wiggle out of that second-place driver on the bottom. I'm not sure his name, Josh. You'd have to help me there. But he almost got into the side of Belk on entry, and Belk was kind of squeezing him down a little bit on entry. That will tighten the car up and come make him rub off that yellow line.
Yeah, that was the set 97 of Hatzman. Oh, somebody up in the wall. One of the wall. Love that new effects that iRacing has implemented. Someone gets up in the wall. You see that smoke and that dirt. And yeah, don't know who that was. I believe that might have been Cox up in the wall. As he's back. Yeah, that's Cox back in the wall yet again. So as they are 3 wide in the back of the field. And Jason Kraft continues to lead here as they're coming to 4 laps to go.
Yeah, Cox slamming the wall in the second time there. He's going to fall off the back here, I think, Josh. He might have too much right side damage. Maybe not. Here he comes back. He's all right.
He hasn't lost the draft. We see Blaylock using a little side draft right now, trying to move himself forward, as Belk uses the side draft as well. So we got a lot of drivers trying to make things happen here in this late part of this first stage. Cheeseburger says, fun watching. Just wait for the All-Star event, as he did get the win last time we were here at Talladega. Oh, Hartney up into the wall now. Gets a little bump from, I believe that was Stubblefield. Was it Cox that gave him the bump up into the wall there? So,
yeah.
Seeing just how unstable these trucks can really be in the draft as we're coming to 3 laps to go, and Belk now has some help from Blaylock, and they're starting to make something happen up in that second line.
You know better than anybody. You got to be squared up. If you're going to shove somebody in the middle of the corner, you got to be squared up real well. And too far to the right, they're going to go to the right. Too far to the left, they're going to go to the left. So,
that's a big misconception people have. They hear bump draft, they think that you have to actually bump the car, but you don't. You want to roll up onto that bumper and just give a push. And if you can stay connected and pushing, that does more than bumping that car in front of you. And if you're connected, you can stay connected all the way around the track. A lot of people get scared when they get towards the corner and want to back out, and that's where you get those big checkups, and that's where you can see some stuff happen in the middle as they are 3 wide in the back of the field still. But Jason Kraft and Jeffrey Belk continue to battle for the lead off of turn number 4.
I like this push from Blaylock right now. They're making some progress there on that outside line. They're going to be close at the line here, Josh, with Blaylock all over the back bumper of Belk.
Coming to the stripe, just 2 laps to go. Belk starting to get some running. Here comes that high line now, that Navy truck moving up to the high side. That is Edward Manning. He's trying to get something going there with Zachary Cox up on the high side. Then David Hartney working to the middle. I believe that's Timothy Stubblefield that he's giving a push to right now.
When they go 3 wide, that really kills the momentum of that middle line, because it drags the 3rd and 4th car back. You see it opened a hole there. Eli jumps up. Yep.
Yeah, as you saw that move, Eli jumping up, cutting up to the middle lane, trying to see if he can make something happen. Will he cut up in front of that 69 to try to get himself up towards the front?
A lot of sawing on the wheel from some of those cars mid-pack there through the middle of the corner. So we'll see what happens.
But it doesn't matter because the white flag is out. Right, 1 lap to go. Jason Kraft, Jeffrey Belk pretty much even at the line as they came across the stripe.
without help in that middle line, there's not a chance that Belk gets back to him in time. But we have Eli coming back to him now, so it might be just in time here.
Well, stranger things have happened as they come down the backstretch for the final time in the stage. Jeffrey Belk in the middle, getting a push from Austin Blaylock as they're trying to make their way up. Another couple big moves in the back as Hartney's trying to move up to that middle line. That middle lane is coming.
A little bit of disorganization through the middle of 3 and 4. They're back. Blaylock's
Oh.
there. He's on his back bumper.
Now they go 3 wide, gets pushed out to the middle. Here they come through the tri-oval. Contact is made.
Belk's going to win this
Belk's
thing.
going to get out in front, and Jeffrey Belk sneaks the win as they all wreck behind. And Jeffrey Belk is the winner of the first stage. And let's pull Belk right down into the room and get a quick little interview with him.
Wild finish, though, Devin, hey?
Yeah, I mean, that just, you thought it was over when the outside got the momentum killed, but it just kept them all together. They got 3 right up front, and it just pulled everyone back, and Belk was able to escape the chaos.
So here we go, pull in Jeffrey Belk. Jeff, you got Josh, Joe, and Devin up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, hello there.
How about that, man? You kind of made that late race move there to get yourself up in the middle. Then you had Blaylock giving you that shove all the way through to the end. Talk us through that last lap or two. What was the secret to getting yourself out in front there?
Honestly, I can't even tell you. I was just trying to side draft as much as I could there off the I think it was 51. But we got that real big push there from Eli coming to the end when they tried to leave me out to dry, and that just gave us the punch we needed to get to the tri-oval up front.
Yeah, awesome finish there. Jeff, anybody you want to give a shout out to before we get this next one started?
The NASCAR Geek, Equipment Geek, Helmet Stalker, Sports Star, Shock, you guys for broadcasting, everyone out there for tuning in.
Yeah, we'll see you in the All-Star race.
Thank you.
Have a great race. So that was your winner of the first heat, Jeffrey Belk. Let's take a look and see how this one's going to start out. It looks like Zachary Cox is going to be the pole sitter with Jason Kraft on the outside. Timothy Stubblefield will roll off from third. Eli Lewis to the outside of him. Then Atlee Weiss rolls off fifth with Dave Hatsema in the 97 in the sixth spot. Michael Dunn roll off seventh with with Edward Manning in the eighth position. Austin Blaylock ninth. Jacob Albeard in 10th, and Dave Hartney rounds out the field in 11th for our second race, which will be 15 laps this time. So, Joe, you've got those extra 5 laps there. You've got a little bit of drafting under your belt. You kind of know what these guys are going to do. What's going to be the difference between a 10-lapper and a 15-lapper here?
I don't know. I think the intensity ramped up about 5 or 6 laps to go in that one. I think we see the same thing here. I think the first 9 or so laps, you see guys shuffling for position, kind of figuring out where their guys are, and then that last 5 or 6 really trying to figure out that second and third lane and making stuff happen. So I think we'll see the same thing. What do you think, Devin?
Yeah, the thing with these trucks is it can be really hard to make those those really aggressive passes if you don't have help. We saw guys that started in the back. They looked like they finished in the back. It was really hard to get a run going in that third lane, as the inside lane and the middle lane stayed pretty stagnant for that entire race. So I would say those guys starting in the back half of this field are going to have to be a little more aggressive here in this one.
And Devin, I was going to ask you, watching from up here, from that first race, who are you working with this race?
Oh boy, I'll take anyone that's pushing me like Jeff was getting pushed at the end of this one. They can come out of nowhere, but like I said before the race, those IDBC guys know what they're doing. I'm gonna watch out for Atlee. He looks like he was pinned on the bottom that entire first round, and when you're the third truck in line on the bottom, you can't really go anywhere. I feel like if that man's gonna want to try and get after this one, he's gonna have to try and shuffle his way out of there so he can make some moves.
Well,
I think the best push in the field right here, right now, is Blaylock, and he showed it there toward the end. 2 cars making progress, and then Eli just coming through and helping at the end there.
Well, green flag is in the air. We're back racing in the second stage, and a little bit of laying back there on that high lane as Jason Kraft now falls back in line, and he looks like he's going to try to fall back to Eli Lewis.
Yeah, he's trying to get in with his teammate. His teammate left that gap, let Zach get... Oh, we're wrecking!
Big wreck, and caution is out. Looks like David Hatsema, Eli Lewis all involved in that one. And that is going to bring up our first wreckage rewind of the night. And that is not what I wanted that to look like, but that is okay.
First wreckage rewind of the season.
Let's go back to the broadcast here and see exactly what happened here as they're making their way off of turn number 2.
Looked like a little
Excuse me.
shove maybe from the right outside of Eli. Shoved him down just a little bit. He got into the side of the 79, and then it was on from there.
Yeah, and a lot of damage. We see a couple drivers. See that 00 of Albert able to get out of the way. Unfortunately, that 69 of Edward Manning was caught up in it. So So as the field gets caught up here as they make their way through turns 3 and 4. And I honestly forgot to look. Does these guys have one reset here in these per stage? Or
There is no resets for either race tonight, so that's going to be the end of those guys' nights, unfortunately.
So tough break for Eli Lewis and Dave Hatsuma, both trying to make their way into the main event, and unfortunately their nights end a little short. We did see the 69 on pit road, or coming down to pit road. A couple drivers making their way on pit road. Timothy Stubblefield coming down here as well. And it doesn't look like there's any damage to the 79 machine. A little bit of damage on the 69. But it looks like that could
it
be...
looked like he might have just had a little bit of front damage. I don't think he made hard contact there in that incident, Josh.
So he's putting tires on that truck. Looks like he's going to try to get that truck fixed back up. So Zachary Cox will be your leader. Jason Kraft sitting back in second. Atlee Weiss in third. Michael Dunn and Austin Blaylock round out your top 5. I think Atlee Weiss is going to be in the catbird seat here, as he's going to be restarting right in the bottom lane of that, the second spot in the bottom lane. And I don't know about you, Joe. That's where I like to race. I like to be in that second spot on the bottom lane because you can almost control the entire race from that spot.
I'm high, wide, and handsome, Josh. I hate being pinned on the bottom. I hate being in that second spot. If I'm going to be on the bottom, the only place I want to be is at the front. That's just my own opinion, but that's because I don't like to be trapped. You know, you get a second line that's riding you tight, and you're in that second spot. You can't get out of there. There's nowhere to go. Yeah, I like to be a high, wide, and handsome out and away.
For sure. And what I mean by being able to control the race from there is if you're pushing on the leader, you can keep out front. But if you feel like he's getting too far out or you guys are getting too far out, you can back off a little bit and pull that bottom lane back. Let's check the chat. We've got quite a bit going on here in the chat. And I just hit the reset button and lost it all. Let me see if I can.
Jitters.
No. Well, so I have to run the chat on a different laptop. So as I was picking up the Chromebook, I hit the refresh button. I hit the mouse pad. So my bad. Let me see if I can pull it up a different way here. Preseason. Hey, fortunately, is the preseason here. Jessica Stubblefield does Let's Go Stubbs. Way to keep it clean. 79 pulling for Kraft and Hatsuma 2. Jonathan Watt says, my bro in the 99. That's all on the Facebook on the YouTube chat. Let's see what we got going on the Facebook chat here. Again, Colin Williams was cheering on Atman. SCSRA posted, congratulations, Jeffrey Belk. Welcome to the show. And Colin agrees, Atman has something for these boys. Of course, if you're watching, we do have the chat wide open, and I don't have my mouse near the reset button anymore, so we won't worry about losing things here on my end. But let us know who you're cheering for here tonight. We saw plenty of support here for Stubblefield and that crew, as well as for Atlee Luis, and I'm sure we've got some other people out there cheering on some other drivers. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, any of the spare motorsports, spare parts motorsports guys in their team and their fans, come on, shout us out. Let us know who you're rooting for.
Spare parts motorsports, that will be the 69 of Edward Manning and the 00 of Jake Ziggy Albert, excuse me. Well, the lights on the pace truck are off, which means we're going to be re-racking them, restacking them, and getting ready to refire them here in just a moment.
Cheeseburger doesn't want anybody to win. Dustin Dean says, come on, Atlee Luis. Dustin got to meet Atman in real life down in Charlotte this past summer. So that was kind of cool. Cool thing about iRacing, man, you can meet some really cool people in real life, too.
Oh, that's for sure. I've met some of
Like common interest.
I've met some of my best friends on iRacing, including you, Joe, and the old crew is getting back together. By the way, Jason and Mike and all them are all getting their rigs back on iRacing, and
I'm trying to get him in here and do this truck series with us. Here we go. We're about to go green flag racing again here at Talladega Super Speedway.
pace truck takes that hard left-hand turn down on the pit road. Again, don't forget that start-finish line way past the tri-oval. And on a typical speedway, you'd find the start-finish line right about here. But when the track was built, they decided to put the start-finish line towards the end. And as we saw in the last race, you see exactly why. As the green flag is back in the air, we are back racing. And Zachary Cox gets a great jump. And unfortunately, a maybe too great of a jump, as he's going to have no help, as the entire field is going to come barreling down on him in about a half a lap's time.
Man, that bottom line was not organized to start that up. And, yeah, Zach got way out in front. What will Atlee do? Will he tuck right in? I think he's going to.
He's going to tuck in, but there was plenty of room in that middle lane. I know I probably would have jumped up into the middle there and went around Zach.
If I knew Blaylock was going with me, yeah, I'd jump up there for sure. But he stuck it down there, and now that outside line with the momentum.
So Jason Kraft and Michael Dunn now lead that bottom lane. Zachary Cox and Atlee Luis right behind. Then we see that 00 of Ziggy Alberg.
Hey, Dunn doesn't want to stay there, I don't think.
Now, and here comes Zachary Cox, making it 3 wide down towards the stripe. Hartney coming up through the middle, trying to make something happen here as well.
That man is dedicated to the bottom line. We are 3 by 2 wide going into turns 3 and 4. And man, these guys are tight.
You're seeing a lot of orange banners coming to the front of this field too. These rookies, they want to party in the big show tonight. They're coming to the front.
For sure, as that 69 doesn't look like he's got too much damage. He's able to stay right there up on that top lane. So you've got 3 rookies up on the high lane, 2 wily veterans in the middle, and then a mixture of rookies down on the bottom.
And Atman all over the back bumper of the leader on the bottom there. And man, they're gonna lead it. I think they might lead this lap there on the bottom. That middle line getting some momentum now with Zach and Hartney.
Yeah, Hartney's giving a good shove there as Blaylock's trying to stay right there on the back bumper of Weiss. So he does a little slide sideways or side to side as they come down into turn number 1. And that 78 just has not looked stable all race long. And I don't know if that's just a feedback thing or a comfort thing. I see him kind of struggling a little bit there on the straightaways of all things.
Yeah, like I said before.
Oh, Hartney gets turned. Oh, Blaylock involved in this as well.
Austin Blaylock is in it for sure. He had some heavy damage hit there.
And that,
I'm not sure how that one started, Josh, because of the camera angle we were at the time.
yeah, no, that was definitely a big one as we get about to get the wreckage rewind back up and running. We try to get this one sorted out here, and ooh, looks like it's going to be a little bit different than what we normally see here. Let's give us a second to set this camera right. We're going to zoom right in here, and from the blimp, I think is going to be the best view of what happened here as we see that 62 and that 00 up on the high side here. And as they come forward, looks like the 62 pushed up the track just a little bit, gets turned by the 00. He comes down into Zachary Cox. That also comes down into the 43 of Hartney. And as they come back across the track, Cox is going to come down and clip Hartney, send him.
No, that's Blaylock.
Blaylock, excuse me. Going to catch Blaylock. He's going to go hard across the track. Doesn't look like he makes actually significant contact with the wall. Actually, it looks like he might have almost completely kept it off the wall. Yeah, just a little bit of damage to the rear end.
There wasn't as much damage in that wreck as I thought there was, but man, the way the guys scattered left and right, I thought there was going to be a lot worse than it was.
You know who did make it through this, though? That is the 79 of Stubblefield. Let's ride along here from the roll bar, see exactly how this happened in front of him and how quickly he was able to react. And this is just how fast it happens.
Yeah, back to our conversation earlier. That's why I am a bottom feeder here, because if there's any sort of wreck, there's a lot of real estate to turn left and just check it down if you need to.
Yeah, the high side, like you were saying, Devin, the high side is dangerous in that sense because you can't. Everybody's coming to you when they wreck. So 5 cars without damage, it looks like right now, Josh. And how many laps we got left here?
Looks like we're going to have right around 6 laps when they come back to the green. Let's take a look through the field real quick. We can see that obviously the 23 has been staying out right now. He is clean as a whistle. So isn't that 78 of Atlee Weiss. And Dave Hartney does have a little bit of damage. You see that right rear sticking up just a little bit. The question is, what does the front of that truck look like? That's going to be the big question, because you can have some damage in the rear. It's not going to affect you too much. It looks like a little crinkle there on the left front, so that truck's going to be struggling in the clean air, but in the draft, he should be able to be all right. Austin Blaylock, the front of that truck looks completely clean. It's all on the back end, so I think he'll be all right as well. At 79 Stubblefield, though, he was able to check up and avoid everything, so watch for him. I mean, if Hartney and Blaylock don't get going, he could have an opportunity to move himself right up towards the front as well. And then Zachary Cox just coming off of pit road. A lot of damage to that 51 machine. Edward Manning still on pit road. Jacob Allbeard and Mike Dunn also on pit road.
So some things to note here, Josh. We've seen, I think, 3 cars get into the wall on entry to corner. I think when guys are pushing on that high line on entry, it loosens up the right rear of the car and they go kind of wonky into the wall. We saw Zach do it earlier. I think we saw Hartney do it as well. And then now we just saw another car do it that started that wreck. So I think that's something to note there for the guys who are watching, who aren't in the race. You might want to be careful there on entry.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that because the way these trucks are set up and the way that super speedway racing is, these trucks are so much more stable when they're loaded up in the corner than they are going down a straightaway. When they're in the corner, they've got all that centrifugal force. They're set down into the track because you've got all that banking to hold the truck in place. When you're going on the straightaway, these trucks want to turn to the left. They are very aerosensitive. As the wake of air comes off the truck, it moves the truck left and right. And you can see that just a little bit of a misbump, a miscalculation, or a misjudgment is really easy to cause what we just saw, a huge wreck.
And we see Atlee Weiss going to be lining up on the outside of the 23. He's going to have Blaylock behind him. Hartney on the low side behind the 23. And then the 79, I think here with only 5 cars, if this is what we end up with, it's going to be the line that has 3 cars who has the best chance at it. We'll see what happens here, though, Josh.
Or the line that has the cleanest cars in it, because Blaylock might have all that rear end damage, but the front of his truck looks pristine, as opposed to that 43 that's got quite a bit of damage on the front of it and the back of it. But don't count out that 79.
Or that 51, you know. That front end of that Cox machine doesn't look bad.
Now it looks like he's been able to get that truck fixed up pretty well. So we've got quite the shootout that's about to happen here. And Atman's
Stars for all the marbles, 7.
and when we take the green flag, we'll have just 5 laps to go. And Jessica Stubblefield definitely liked what she saw out of Timothy there, making his way through that wreck. So here we go. Pace truck takes that hard left-hand turn as they approach the Geico restart zone. And green flag is back in the air. We are back racing. And again, we see that leader get a great jump, and that car on the bottom not get as good of a jump, as Atlee Atman-Weiss has the help on that high side in the form of Austin Blaylock.
And you can see Hartney with the front end damage falling off. He's not going to be able to keep the draft here, Josh, I don't think.
Yeah, watch for Stubblefield here to try to tuck in line and try to get around that 43 machine as they come down the backstretch. And now Blaylock pushes Atman out to the front. And Blaylock dumps the partner that he's had all race long. And now our top 3 drivers are 2 of our cleanest drivers in the race as far as damage, out in front with that third truck that's got the damage, but riding in that third spot. Even though he's not going to be able to lead or be all that fast by himself, he can help a ton just by sitting in that third spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're starting to drive away from this pack behind them, I think, too, Josh. Those guys all separated like that, it's not going to get them back up there. They need to have at least, some sort of organization to keep this draft.
As we see Timothy Stubblefield, who is now by himself and actually reeling down. He is catching Austin Blaylock. So watch out for the 79 machine. He's going to have a run. He's not going to be able to do it all on his own, but we'll see. Maybe that 23 tucks out and he's there. Look at that.
Blaylock jumps up. He blocks that run. He had a massive run. He's going to block it, but the 23, I imagine. Oh, now we're 3 wide for the front.
The 3 clean trucks down 3 wide as they come across the stripe. Blaylock trying to help who he can. That time by, Atlee Weiss was ahead by just a nose as they continue to run 3 wide. Now Stubblefield's going to tuck back in line. And now we got the 2 clean trucks up on the high side, 1 clean truck on the bottom, but that's the Atman-Weiss truck who's nice and clean on the bottom. Is he going to be able to keep himself out in front?
There's our 2 teammates up top too, so Atlee's going to need a lot of help with Blaylock to be able to hold these guys off.
And Blaylock's going to have to get it tight to him. We're going to get down in front of him. He ditches his teammate for the bottom there. Interesting move by him.
As
Blaylock's going to go with him too.
Yeah, here they go. Now they're going back up to the high side. Coming down this stripe, popsicle sticks will be in the air. 2 laps to go as they come across stripe, and Atman going to clear and take the lead as they come across stripe with 2 laps to go.
And this is all about mirror driving for Atlee at this point. He's got to figure out what line and what cars are going to have the momentum. These guys are going to try to go around him again, though.
How wide can that 78 machine get as now they get lined up on the second line? Atman's just going to be a sit and duck as he's got no help from Blaylock at the moment as those 2 line up in the middle lane. They approach lane turns 3 and 4. Now Atman's going to be back in that 3rd position. And you said it, those 2 teammates are going to be lined up here. What can Atman and Blaylock do as they are coming to the white flag?
Now they have a good distance of run space right now. if they can make this happen, it's gonna be they're gonna have to get a little bit more organized. They're too far apart right now.
I was gonna say Atman's got to be tucked in behind that 79 trying to get a run, but here comes Blaylock to the back bumper of the 78 machine. And they are side by side into turns 1 and 2.
They're gonna have the momentum here going into 3 and 4, I think, Josh.
And they're a little bit more organized up on that high lane as we see Atman doing everything he can, pulling away just a little bit. Now the bottom lane is pushing as they are lined up, coming down into turn 3 and 4 for the final time. Who is it gonna be? Again, we've got that long tri-oval to decide it. Atlee getting a little bit of pull here from the 23. 23 puts him up in the wall. Here comes the Stubblefield down on the low side. Austin Blaylock to the middle. To the middle. Blaylock with the run.
Weiss got it.
Atlee Weiss gets the win at the line.
Stop it. You guys putting on a show tonight.
And that's the open.
Let's go, Atlee. Atman, Weiss, what a finish. Way to stay in it, even after getting put in the wall in the tri-oval.
Let's take a look at this ending here in slow motion. And we see Blaylock with that stick-it machine trying to stick it in the middle here as he's trying to make it 4 wide down towards the stripe. And you see exactly that, 4 wide. Atlee actually the last car as they come down. The 23 makes the move, trying to pinch down. Blaylock comes up just a little bit. They turn sideways. That gives Atman the position, and just by that much.
What a finish.
What a finish. Let's bring in our winner here, Atman Weiss.
I gotta hop in and
Atlee, no, you're already here, Atlee. You got Josh, Devin, and Joe in the broadcast booth, and this is going to be a completely different interview for you. Man, number one, what a finish. Number two, what was going through your mind there as you were coming off of turn number 3, trying to get the win here tonight?
Yeah, that was absolutely wild. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better finish. I hope everybody enjoyed that on the broadcast. So those last few laps, I was just trying to stay out front, and 23 and the 79, they were having some great runs on the outside. And so that last lap on the back stretch, I went to the outside. I'm like, come on, Blaylock, let's go to the front. And so I was coming on the outside, and then I saw the 23 car. He came up and kind of threw a block, and that slowed up my momentum a little bit. So I'm like, man, well, that sucks. I thought I was out of it. And then I just tried to stay on the outside. He left some room, so I just kept going, and I just had a whole lot of momentum heading in onto that tri-oval and heading to the start-finish line. And then I went across the start-finish line sideways. I had no idea I had gotten hit, but I mean, wow. I'm just in disbelief. That was just a crazy, crazy finish.
Yeah, man, a game of inches there, finishing it up. You're in the wall coming out of 4. You think it's over. You cross the line in that first place. And me, Josh, and Devin's prediction of one of the guys that's going to make it into this next race comes true. We're all pulling for you for the whole race. So congratulations, man. Anybody you want to thank?
Oh, absolutely. I got to thank all of my real-life sponsors. One's Mexican Cafe and Cantina, Premier Heating and Air Services, LLC, Go-To Property Services, Dayton Lee State Farm Agent, Sign Media Incorporated, Bobby's Auto Service Center, Damon's Lawn Service and Landscaping, Body by D, The Movement, Creekside Cafe and Market, East Coast Synthetics, The Butt Kicker, Snap Mobile, Intensity Broadcasting, of course, my Mamo and Granddaddy, and my real-life racing team, Intensity Broadcasting. And of course, I want to thank Austin Blaylock for pushing me there at the end. I really appreciate that. And of course, just Josh, Joe, Devin, thanks for stepping up into the booth. I mean, everybody does a great job at Intensity, so I mean,
awesome work, man. Come find me in this new race. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
I do believe Atlee has now qualified for the last 3 All-Star races from the Open, so that's pretty impressive, man.
I think that there's a new rule that needs to be implemented. If you win 3 Opens, you're in for life.
At this
Yeah, I'm here for that.
Well, Atlee, again, congrats on the Open win, and good luck in the main event.
Thank you, Josh.
Man, what a wild finish there at the end. And man, I mean, what else can you say other than what a finish?
That's Daigle.
Dude, that's one of the reasons I love this place. I love it in real life. I love it in iRacing. The excitement you get from a 4 wide finish is nothing you can. I mean, there's nothing you can say about it. It's just amazing.
Well, we look forward to watching this next one unfold. Hopefully, the next race is exciting as this one. So we're going to go back to the starting soon screen. We'll be right back with you as we get the second race of this doubleheader fired up here tonight. Again, just look for the stream. The stream's not going to end. We're just going to keep it going, and we'll be right back with you. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Intensity Broadcasting. My name is Josh Hall. I'm joined in the booth currently by one of the drivers you saw in the last race. That is Edward Manning. Edward, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Good. How are you tonight?
We're doing well. We saw you had some struggles there in that race, getting caught up in that wreck there in that second race. But you're telling me the trucks are really a handful out there tonight.
Yeah, they're a little dicey coming in and out of the corners, trying to hang tight with somebody. But other than that, straightaways they're very good. But it's just trying to commit and get somebody to go with you. And passing on the outside, I tried it a few times. I had no commitment with me, so it left me out to dry. So I was just fighting in the back most of the time. But I did get caught up in a racing incident a couple times there, no fault of my own. But it happens. That's what racing's all about.
Especially super speedway racing, you can get caught up in something that has nothing to do with you whatsoever. So we got qualifying underway, and how about this? Our newest winner in the SCSRA, the 47 of Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence, won last time we were here in the Xfinity Series. That's how he's locked into the All-Star race here, and we'll see how he's able to fare here tonight. Colin Willems also making his way out on track in that familiar 17 machine. Jake McCarty currently out on track as well. And man, we saw the rookies doing some good things there in that first race, and now we've got the wily vets. All of these drivers have raced with each other here at one point or another. They know what to expect, and it's going to be an exciting one here tonight for sure. Dave Wright out on track, getting his qualifying attempt underway. And how about this? Jeffrey Belk, one of our two winners in our open race tonight, won the first stage. And in a nail-biting finish, Atlee Atman Weiss comes home in second, or wins the second open here tonight, which was absolutely incredible. I know he's a fan favorite, being the Wednesday night announcer and the basically the starting force behind Intensity Broadcasting. So he's kind of my secret pick, even though I'm supposed to remain partial here. He is going to be my pick for one of these stages here tonight. Also joining us in the booth in just a moment will be the driver of the 43, David Hartney. He was in the last race as well. He'll be able to give us a little bit of insight into what went on in that first race. But as we mentioned, really your first lap tends to be your fastest lap here in qualifying. So we see Atman right up against the wall here. However, we know a lot of drivers are trying to run down on the bomb. And how about this? Brian Canuti back in that 40 machine, back in that red, white, and blue truck, and possibly back to running in second place all season long. Dustin Dean in that 21 machine out on track as well. He's got that Truck Series rookie logo up on his windshield there. However, he is a past champion of the series before, when it was the iOS series. So with his wins and such, locked him in automatically to the All-Star race. Will Witt, the new Papa, goes up fastest on his first lap, put him on the pole. And Will Witt's really good at two places, super speedways and dirt tracks. And right now we see that 35 machine out in front as he's making his way around the track in a brand new looking paint job on his truck as well. As I say that, Cody Moore jumps up to the top of the paint of the chart here in that 52 machine. So teammates up at the top of the board. And our series sponsor, Eddie Morris, in that Morris Customs machine, making his way down to the tri-oval. Another driver we expect to see pretty quickly here, or pretty quick here around super speedways. We know he's quite the super speedway racer himself. So he's currently fifth fastest on the board. As we got about a minute left here in qualifying, of course, want to thank all of our great partners here as well. Again, Morse Customs for being the series sponsor. Of course, raceepi.com for all your racing and setup needs and coaching needs here on iRacing. Check out raceepi.com. And of course, our partner here at Intensity Broadcasting, the butt kicker, is an established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of butt kicker products let users feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. The patented design makes them incredibly accurate, powerful, and virtually indestructible. The Gamer Plus is a new and upgraded sim racing haptic hardware that reproduces immersive, accurate, and powerful sim racing, flight sim, and gaming effects. To check out the full line of butt kicker products and figure out which one's right for you, visit the link below at thebuttkicker.com. Also, don't forget to check out intensitybroadcasting.com for all your league and racing apparel, as well as Atlee Atman Weiss, who just won the open race. So why don't you support the young man? Pick up a t-shirt, a hat, a sweatshirt. He's got it all over at intensitybroadcasting.com. So qualifying has completed. And let's take a look at our starting grid. And starting on pole tonight will be the 82 of Joe Wright, with Cody Moore starting from the second position. Colin Willems rolls off third with Will Witt in the fourth spot. Then Dustin Dean rounds out your top five. IDBC racer David Wright rolls off from sixth with Eddie Morris in the seventh position. And Brett Merle rounding out row number 4. Row 5 will be Devin Butchino with the 40 of Brian Canuti rolling off from 10th. Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence rolls off 11th with Derek Chaput in the 12th position, followed by Brian Merle Jr. back in 13th and Jake McCartney, teammates, in row number 7. Atlee Atman Weiss will roll off from the 15th position with Michael Proval in 16th and Jeffrey Belk rounding out the field here tonight at Talladega for our All-Star event. David is back and ready to join us in the booth. David, how are you doing tonight?
You know, I am, as much as those clashes didn't work in my favor, I'm just super proud and super happy that two of my teammates in the IDBC crew, Jeffrey Belk and Atlee Weiss, were able to make it through. So super proud of those guys, and can't wait to see what they're going to do in this one.
For sure. We know they're both good at being patient and working themselves up towards the front. And that's what we'll be looking for here tonight. And Edward, we were talking about earlier, these trucks just seem to be wicked unstable, especially in a big group. What do you see, and what's kind of the secret to keeping yourself clean here tonight?
Well, it's obviously pick a line, stay with it, get a good running partner, and then hope and pray that you stay out of a wreck or two. But I mean, any of the lines are a good line to run as long as you got a good pusher. So other than that, they're just a little wiggly.
Yeah, we see Joe Wright starting down on that low side. He said he hates being pinched down on that low side. He wants to be up on the high side. We'll see if that holds true here, as he's going to be starting on that low side tonight. He's going to have a really good pusher behind him as well in that 17 of Colin Willems. But we got Wasted Wages Racing teammates up on the high lane with Cody Moore and Will Witt rolling up on that high side. And 3 out of the top 4 are all Wasted Wages drivers as well. So watch for them to try to get hooked up here and get themselves up towards the front. Or they're already at the front, but keep themselves at the front, I should say. So the way this is going to work is we're going to have 3 stages. First stage is going to be 15 laps. Second stage will be 15 laps. And the final stage will be 20 laps. It's going to be a full invert after the first stage. Your average finish between the first 2 stages will be how they line up in the third stage. Pace car takes that hard left-hand turn on the pit road. And just like we mentioned the first one, that tri-oval is past that that start-finish line is past that tri-oval for a reason here at Talladega. And we saw exactly why in that first 2 races. And green flag is in the air. We are racing here at Talladega, and Colin Willems already given a big shove to Joe Wright. Dustin Dean, though, right there on the bottom, trying to push along as well. Doesn't want to push the pusher. Wants to stay right there on the back bumper of Colin Williams to try to keep Joe Wright out in front. But here comes Cody Moore and Will Witt up on the high side. They've got Dave Wright in tow as well as they come off the backstretch for the first time. And Cody Moore is going to have the momentum. Is he going to tuck down, or is he going to try to pull Will Witt by as well, as Dave Wright's going to tuck down into the middle lane and go 3 wide as they go into turn number 3. Brian Canuti right there in the mix as well. He's going to tuck in behind Dave Wright as they continue to try to run 3 wide, with Cody Moore getting a great push from David Wright. How about this? We've already got 3 lanes formed up as Dave Wright made that very aggressive move to break up the Wasted Wages Racing drivers, which was a great move in his mind and a great move in general. Try to break those guys up. We see the 11 of Brett Merle up on the high side with Will Witt now as they make their way down the backstretch. Joe Wright still has Colin Williams tucked in and locked on that back bumper right where he wants him. We're seeing those trucks get really, really loose and light as they get down into the corners. Was that something you guys were feeling most of that first race as you got down into the corner? That's when the truck really unloaded and got really unsettled? Big wreck, big wreck. Huge wreck. I apologize. We're going to go back to that one. Oh, Brian Canuti, Dave Wright involved, Eddie Morris involved in that one as well.
Upside down trucks there.
We got lots of upside down trucks, and that's going to bring up our wreckage rewind. And that started actually up at the front. And it looks like that started with, we're going to have to go to the blimp for this one, because it looked like it started with Dave Wright and Brian Canuti. Canuti has to check up. Dave Wright gets turned down into Eddie Morris. Devin Buccino just barely able to sneak through there. And then as the trucks come back up across the track, that gets everybody involved. And how about those 2 drivers from the back there? Atlee Atman-Weiss, Jeff Belk, both winners in the first race, diving down to the apron and through the grass to avoid it. But man, let's go back just a little bit further, because it looks like Dave Wright may have Kyle Williams came up. Dave Wright had to check up to keep from running in the back of Cody Moore, and that's when Canuti got into the back of Wright and sent him around, and at that point all hell just broke loose.
Well, the good thing is there may not be any fast repairs for this race, but we got another race or 2 left tonight, so there's still a couple more chances for these guys. So, it'll be a good competition to see what happens in the next 2 as well.
So it looks like out of the race as of right now, Brian Canuti, ton of damage on that truck. He is done. Brett Merle as well. Jake McCarty looks like he's going to be done. Derek Chaput, too much damage on the front end of that truck to continue. Dave Wright has a lot of damage, but he's still rolling. He might be able to continue on. Doesn't look like too much damage to the front of that truck. So maybe in the draft he should be able to continue on. Same with Eddie Morris. Most of his damage is on the rear and the side. So he's coming back down pit road to get a little bit more damage fixed up. Michael Provolt, though, made the aggressive move down to the grass in the apron along with Jeff Belk, Atlee Weiss, Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence, so they were all able to stay clean. Devin Buccino had a front row seat for that. Let's ride along with Buccino as we can see. He can see exactly what was going on right here. Try to see if I can get this lined up here. Here we go. This is riding along with the 68 of Devin Buccino. Just how fast it happens. I mean, what a great move. Devin just kept in it, able to slide on through. Doesn't look like he's got any damage to that 68 machine.
Just one of those racing incidents where a guy up front checks up a little bit and third, fourth car in line doesn't see it.
Plus, these drivers haven't been on track with each other in a couple weeks, so some of these drivers are shaking off the rust a little bit as well. So, but as Hartney brought up, we have 2 more heats, if you will, 2 more stages. These drivers will have fresh trucks for the following stages, and who knows, that might be an advantage for somebody here having a bad finish in the first one, as it is a full restart, invert. So Joe Wright continues to lead. Colin Willems will be on the outside. Dustin Dean in third place. He's going to be pushing on Joe Wright here. And we know Dustin knows how to get around these super speedways and push as well. Then Cody Moore falls back into the 4th position. Will Witt, who's got quite a bit of damage on his truck, will be in 5th with Devin Butchino 6th. Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence 7th. Atlee Weiss 8th. Jeffrey Belk in 9th. And Michael Provolt in the 10th spot. When the field comes by this time, the lights on the pace car will be off. And we'll be going back green flag racing in just 1 lap.
You know, it's for me, it's just good to be back with these guys. I mean, it was a couple of week break, but it was just, I mean, to be able to be racing again with these guys is some of the cleaner racing that I've been involved in. So to be back for season 3 for me, definitely fun. I'm glad we're back.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this season, as well as new sponsors, new names, new faces, new looks. It's going to be a blast here. So here we go. We're going to re-rack them, restack them, and refire them, with Joe Wright being down on the bottom and Colin Williams being in his favorite spot up on the outside. Couple things in the chat. A lot of congratulations to Atlee Weiss for winning the Open, including Steve McDonald, who missed the first part of it, but way to go, Atlee. And good to see Steve tuning in here, even though he runs with the Rebels. He used to run in this league, and good to see him watching and tuning in here tonight. So here we go. Pace car is going to be getting ready to take that hard left-hand turn onto pit road. Of course, the Geico restart zone is in effect. If you're unfamiliar how that works, there's a painted surface on the track that says Geico. It's on the wall and on the apron. Drivers, the leader has to maintain his pace until he gets into that zone, and then he has the option to fire off anywhere within that zone he'd like, whether it be the very beginning or the very end. If he exits that zone without restarting, the starter will throw the green flag and racing will resume with or without the leader. So here we go. Pace car is coming in. Field making their way down towards that Geico restart zone. You'll see that Geico painted down on the bottom of the track as they get down into the middle of the tri-oval here. And there it is. And green flag is back in the air. We are back racing. Joe Wright gets a great jump in front of Colin Willems. He's got a good push here coming from Dustin Dean as they make their way towards turns 1 and 2. Although Colin Willems has some help now from his Wasted Wages teammate, Cody Moore. And Will Witt threw a big move up the track. Almost had to put Chino up into the wall. And they are 3 wide behind, but Butchino has no help. So he's going to be sliding backwards up there on that high side all by himself, as Colin Willems now takes the lead off the front bumper of Cody Moore. So now Willems out in front. Wasted Wages teammates, though, Cody Moore and Will Witt up on the high side. We see Atlee Atman Weiss right there in the mix as well. Big wiggle out of that 78. We saw that 78 moving around a lot in the open. Doesn't look like he's got too much handling underneath him as well, as he's still struggling a little bit down into the corner.
So not to interrupt, Jess, but to catch back up to the conversation we were having, for whatever reason, it is getting loose going into these corners, but it just seems extremely unstable when bump drafting as well. When I was trying to push with Zach in the Clash, anytime we made contact, it just got super wiggly. So it's an interesting change. I'm not sure if something happened or something changed in the setups from last season or not for iRacing or what, but it just seems very unstable this season.
Oh, Joe Wright pushes himself up the track, trying to get up into that top lane. He pushes Cody up further. And now we've got Dustin Dean and Joe Wright in the middle. And yeah, we were talking about that in the open. It seemed like, just like in real life, these trucks are really unstable in the straightaway. As they load up in the corner, in the center of the corner, like you see them now, they have a lot more stability. But when they're on the straightaway, especially because these trucks want to really turn to the left, these trucks tend to really move around on the straightaways. I don't know if it's the air, the suspension, a combination of the both or what, but we're seeing a lot of movement as they're almost forward. Oh, Colin Williams gets in the cheeseburger. Cheeseburger's up in the wall, no caution. Michael Provolt caught up in that as well, and now the caution is out. As Colin Williams is able to continue on as well. That's going to bring up another wreckage rewind as we take a look to see exactly what brought this one out. Another incident pretty much on the straightaway. Going to bring this one up with the blimp cam. Try to zoom in on this one the best we can. We see Colin Williams there has cheeseburger to the outside. Dustin Dean and them are almost 3 wide. Yeah, Colin was to the outside. Dustin Dean, cheeseburger didn't realize that they were 3 wide there. Jeffrey Belk gets a little piece of it as well. Atman up in the wall. Michael Provolt. So drivers who were able to avoid all the mess in the first one all caught up in this one. Doesn't look like too much damage, though, to Atman or Belk, or Provolt for that matter, so they should be able to get back out there and continue on. But you see the 17 of Colin Williams. The right side of that machine is completely destroyed. And I don't think he'll be able to do much more. Actually, Atman's front end is shoved up in the air. That's going to kill the aerodynamics on that 78. Well, Michael Provolt looks like he's not too bad a shape. Jeffrey Bell coming down onto pit road, and he's got quite a bit of damage to the front end of that machine. So he comes down to his pit stall trying to get as much of that damage fixed up as he can. Same
Just
with
another racing incident. Sorry about that, but just want to comment on that. It's just a racing incident going in the corner too tight and you're wiggling loose. So, it just.
Yeah, I can't really put a blame on anybody. I just think that Cheeseburger didn't realize how tight they were. I don't think he realized that Colin and Dustin there were 3 wide. And he might have got the call on the spotter just a little bit late. And he could have pushed up just a little bit up the track. But again, we've got two more stages to go where these drivers will be able to get fresh trucks and be able to get back in the race and do it all over again.
Well, and I did hear right after that incident happened, I believe it was Cheese I think it was Cheese that did come on and say spotter called 3 wide at the last second. So it just looked like he just didn't know that was coming.
And that's a common thing, especially with the position that you're 3 wide, because obviously if you have a live spotter, somebody in your ear telling you, you're going to know that you're 3 wide in that position. But iRacing just doesn't have a way to say, hey, you're really 3 wide there. So
yeah, I mean that's the advantage of having obviously someone spot for you, is that you know when they can tell you like there's someone coming up on the inside, you got a run coming up on the outside. They're possibly pushing it 3 wide, keep aware. iRacing just doesn't tell you until it's there, and that's just a limitation of an AI system like that.
It's not just iRacing. It's been that way since I can remember NASCAR racing too.
Absolutely.
So it's, although with the advancements in AI, I wonder if we'll be able to get a more intelligent spotter as the years go on.
Well, I can only imagine. I mean, you've been here since The Sims started. I can only imagine the difference between when it started and what it is today. So they're always making improvements. So maybe at some point they'll be able to create an AI system that will understand what's going to happen like that. I mean, technology is always advancing. So maybe something like that will come in the future.
I mean, I just noticed one of the coolest features that they implemented this build, and that was when you get up in the wall, smoke comes off the car. So that to me is a huge improvement visually, because you can really tell if somebody's been up in the wall because you can physically see it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's also the instant replay function that was coming up for solo test sessions. So you can mark on track and you can set controls. You can mark on track places you're having difficulty. So you can reset into corners instantly and practice that same set of corners over and over again. Same thing with exiting or entering onto pit lane. So there's a lot of features that are coming and the things they keep developing. It's exciting to see what's going to happen in the future.
And just the amount of change that's gone on just with the tires themselves. I mean, when the first tire model came out, those who've been around long enough can remember, it was like driving on ice. I mean, what we got on the dirt cars is that's how you used to race street, asphalt ovals. And it was very unrealistic. You were sawing on the wheel. It was just not what it is today. Now you can feel the tires. You've got the force feedback. You've got the ability to have things like the butt kicker that can really give you that haptic feedback if the tires are sliding or the brakes are locked up or you're going over a rumple strip. So I think the improvements that they've made to the sim every single generation, if you would have went back and watched a race from 10 years ago, you wouldn't even believe what you were seeing because we didn't even have damage at that point.
Well, and also 10 years ago, broadcast didn't exist. So, it's
There-
come a long way. since
There was
iRacing
broadcast,
developed.
but you had like two broadcasters, and that was, I think, LSR TV and I can't remember the other one, but all they did was the big stuff.
Yeah, it's excited to see what's changed. Excited to see where it goes.
Even little things like the HDR and the reflections that you see, that never used to be a thing. These tracks used to look like you were looking at an old PlayStation game. So just the small advancements year after year. I love seeing it. I love watching what this sim's becoming, and I love watching what this series is becoming because we're about to go back green flag racing. Joe Wright leads them back down into the Geico restart zone with 3 laps to go when they take the green flag, and the green flag's in the air. A little tire spin out of the 21. As him and Joe Wright get up across the line, and they are going to clear Cody Moore as they come down into turns 1 and 2. Again, just 3 laps to go to settle it here in the first stage. At the end of the stage, we'll have a full field invert as Cody Moore now trying to make a move all by himself up on the high side. Uses the side draft to get along Dustin Dean. He's got Devin Buccino right behind in tow with Will Witt and Michael Provolt to the back bumper of Dustin Dean. Off of turn number 4, and they come across the line this time. Popsicle sticks will be in the air. We'll have just 2 laps to go when they cross the line. Joe Wright out in front by a half a car length. Cody Moore, though, trying to get some momentum going up on the high side from Devin Buccino. And that is Will Witt in that 35 machine. A couple new cars out there, still getting used to the new paints. How about Brian Merle Jr. up in the mix here as well? We haven't talked about him all race long. Now he's up there sitting 4th on the high line, and he knows how to get around these super speedways as well.
Absolutely. You just saw it there getting loose on the back straight. These cars are just really unstable on the straightaways, especially when drafting.
Cody Moore out in front of Joe right now, but Joe's fighting back hard on the inside with the help of Dustin Dean. As they come through the trial, 1 lap to go. When they cross the line this time, white flag is in the air. 1 to go. Joe Wright out in front by just a nose.
Here we go, baby. This is where it's going to start.
Who's going to try to make the move up through the middle or up on the high side? Because you know they're going to happen. You know someone's going to open the door just enough, and someone's going to try to make that move. And you see there's plenty of room to get up to the middle. As Will Witt's going to jump up to the high side. Brian Merrill Jr. was going to go with Will Witt. He tucks back in line. Now he's behind his teammate, Devin Butchino, as those Neon boys are going to line up there in the middle as they come off of turn number 4. And this is the reason why that tri-oval or that start-finish line is past the tri-oval for finishes like this. Cody Moore barely out in front. Joe Wright fighting back on the inside. Here comes Michael Provo trying to give a push as well as they come down off of the tri-oval. And Joe Wright is going to win the first stage by a half a truck length, and they are going to wreck at the end. So Joe Wright showing some strength there at the end. Unfortunately for him, that means he's going to start at the back on this second race. And let's pull Joe down into the booth so we can get a quick little word with him. Joe, you got Josh, Dave, and Ed up in the booth. You got us?
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Man, you had Colin Willems there on your back bumper. Then you had Dustin Dean giving you a shove. Man, everybody was there giving you that shove there at the end, and you had just enough momentum to get the win. Now, take us through that last lap.
Yeah, I mean, Cody and them coming pretty hard on the outside. Dustin stayed with me, stuck with me, even after almost turning me about a lap before that. So it was a good finish there coming to the stripe. And, I think people playing a little bit safe there, which is good, considering, they got to get an average finish here. So.
Yeah, and with that average finish coming into play and you starting dead last now, how does that make you feel, and what's your strategy for the second race?
Well, my strategy is to at least finish mid-pack and not being caught up in anything stupid real early like a lot of those guys had in that last one. So that's the strategy here moving forward. Just keep her clean and be there at the end.
So now you think you're going to push Dean since he was kind enough to push you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I already talked to Dustin about that. I said, you give me some, I'll give you some, and we'll see what happens in the third one.
Yeah, he didn't abandon you. He was right on your back bumper the whole race. Credits to him for staying with you.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Awesome job by him sticking with me.
Well,
Good teammate.
Before I let you go, anyone want to thank, any shout-outs?
Yeah, shout out to Intensity Broadcasting, Cheeseless Cracker Motorsports, and Eddie Morris Customs for coming on board as the sponsor for the series this season. Man, it's going to be a great season. Got a great group of drivers here, and it's going to be awesome as we are about to get going here.
Yeah, well, good luck in your second race here, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, buddy.
Man, what a wild finish there on the first of 3 stages here. We set the field for our second race, and let's take a look at what our starting grid's going to look like here. It's going to be a complete invert. Brian Canuti's going to have the pole. Brett Merle in second. Derek Chaput in third. Dave Wright fourth. Jake McCarty in fifth. Eddie Morrison sixth. Atlee Weiss seventh. Will Witt eighth. Jeffrey Belk and Colin Willems round out the top 10. 11th will be Brian Merle Jr. Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence 12th. Excuse me. Michael Provo in 13th, Devin Butchino in 14th, Dustin Dean, Cody Moore, and Joe Wright rounding out the field. Boys, that was an incredible finish. What do you think we're going to see in the second one?
A lot of team racing, that's for sure. I mean, when you have a good teammate like that who sticks with you on the bumper all the way through, you can't ask for anything more. I mean, he really helped you get that win. So shout out to Dean as well. Teammates make all the difference in the world.
Hartney, who do you think you got for this race, as we got a complete field invert, and we got some super speedway guys now up towards the front that were in the back in the first one?
Well, as long as Brian doesn't lose any talent in this race, I got him for this one. But there's a lot of big names up the front of this field. That's going to be very interesting to watch, honestly. So again, we got 15 laps for this one. Best average finishes heads to the 25 laps. So those guys that were all taken out at the beginning, they've got to stay up front if they want to get a good feature or a good starting position in the next one.
For sure, as the pace car is making its way down on the pit road, Brian Canuti is going to lead him back down to the start of this second stage. Again, it will be started on the green flag. There is no restart zone on the start of the stages. And green flag is in the air, and we are racing. And again, we see that bottom lane just check up on the start. Derek Chaput got a little timid there on the start. He's going to fall back in line just a little bit. Brian Canuti trying to run side by side with Brett Merle, but Brett's got that help from behind from Dave Wright right now, and that's going to be the momentum. That's going to be the difference. I think that's going to propel that 11 out in front, and he might be able to cut down in front of Canuti here as they come down the backstretch, and there it is.
Well, now you got Nudie behind you to push. So as Nudie's very good at super speedways as well. Looks like Jeff got a little out of control there, heading into turn 3. So hopefully you can get back up on the track and catch back into this group.
It looks like a little bit of pushing and shoving in the middle and back of the pack. And Brian Canuti's in a spot he's very familiar with and very comfortable with, sitting there in second. So as he's being pushed right now, or giving a push right now to that 11, we see Dave Wright and Eddie Morris, who used to be teammates and know how to work these super speedways, up in that middle line together, and Will Witt right there as well. So that's 3 really solid super speedway racers in that middle lane, and you're seeing exactly what's happening by that as that Fried Piper trying to get himself out front and get himself leading this race. That's the 8 of Eddie Morris wants to be out front leading.
Well, he has the most wins in the SCSRA and super speedway, so never count on Eddie on these tracks as well.
And he's got some inspiration in the cockpit tonight as well. They always call him the Pied Piper, Eddie Morris, or the Fried Piper as they like to call him as well. So he's got some skeleton gloves that he's running in there, just like Dale Jr. would have wore. So trying to pull his inner Dale Jr. here. They're 4 wide down across the stripe. 4 by 4. 4 wide, 3 rows deep. Oh, one up in the wall. They're round. They're wrecking. David Wright involved in this one. He's hard back into the outside wall. No caution, though. Caution is not out. There's the caution thrown manually. Wow. I mean, we knew we were going to see 4 wide at some point. I just wasn't expecting to see it so early in the race and having so many issues here. As we're going to bring it here from the blimp view. And, oh man, it looks like we're going to rewind this back just a little bit. It looks like it starts with Colin Willems. Looks like when he bumped Will there, no, it looks like Dave may have came down just a little bit down into Colin. Colin comes down the track. There's more contact between Dave and Colin. That shoots Colin up the track into Devin Butchino and Dustin Dean. Come back down across track. Just barely miss Cody Moore and Derek Chaput, but catch the 10 of McCarty. And Eddie Morris and Brian Merle Jr. able to woe it down. Looks like Atman Weiss, does make some contact there at the end. And Eddie just barely misses getting clipped there as the 84 comes back up across the track. And unfortunately, the 74 of, or 47 of Cheeseburger gets a little piece there at the end as well.
You probably couldn't have fit a hair in between those 2 cars there, Pat.
There was a lot of that going on there. That was tight and wild all the way around.
Oh yeah, that going 4 wide this early in a race is maybe not the smartest thing, but I know some of these guys need to get up towards that front so that they can get a good starting position for this final. But reality is, I mean, you're all going to make it. It's super speedway, man. Anything could happen.
I was getting ready to ask you, David, do you want to play it safe until the last 5 laps, or do you want to get up in the mix and try to advance your position early? But obviously, these guys are going for it from the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, these guys, they're really these guys have been racing together for 4 or 5 seasons at this point, so they're pretty comfortable around each other. So they will try to push it as hard as they can. Me personally, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to pull the Jeffrey Belk move and stay towards the back, let these guys filter their stuff out. Like we saw in the last heat, you're going to get a couple of them that are going to just be taken out on their own devices. So or on their own accord. So I personally would play it safe, but obviously that's not what's going to happen in this heat.
Yeah, and only 15 laps to get it done, too. So you're going to see some aggressive moves, which is exactly what we saw when we had 3 lanes of 4-wide racing. It's not that you can't run 4-wide here at Talladega, but these guys haven't been running with each other for a couple weeks. So having that little bit of trust with each other can diminish over those couple weeks as these guys get back to their roots and get back to racing around each other again.
One, that this isn't the regular season. This is our all-star race. So if this was the regular season, that wouldn't be happening at all. So I know everyone's trying to push it to see where they can get to each other, kind of get back in the swing of things. We know Cody took a couple weeks off, turns everything off for those in the break. I know a couple of other guys that did it as well. I want to give a shout out to Will. It's the first broadcast we've talked about, but congratulations to him with the baby. I know he's probably lacking on sleep right now. So it's just getting kind of back in the swing of things. I think they're trying to push it to see how far they can go.
And since the baby is born, we can officially announce it. So again, congratulations, William Walter Witt the Sixth was born during the off season. So again, congratulations to the happy papa, and good luck getting some sleep as you will need it.
Oh yeah, bud.
I think he'll have the best time in the car where he's just by himself. Quiet time by himself.
When my daughter was born, we were it was right at the beginning of the quarantine. She was born March 3rd of 2020. So yeah, that was pretty much I ate, I slept, I changed diapers, I raced. That was pretty much my whole thing. My wife was out of work, I was out of work, I had nothing to do. I spent my time down here racing.
Well, when children are born, that's a full-time job. So for not only the mother but the father as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's a family event, and sometimes sitting here racing with your friends and getting away from that environment for a little bit helps tremendously.
And it's a lot like a beer league, if you will, when you're racing here with these guys. It's like a softball league or a bowling league or a darts league, whatever you wanna compare it to. So my wife always says to me, I know where you are. I know what you're doing. You're down there racing with your buddies. And as I mentioned in the first race, I've met some of my best friends here on iRacing. Joe Wright, for sure. We've been friends for over 13 years because we met here on the sim. We've met each other a couple times at the races. My buddy Jason Loy, he ended up being one of my groomsmen in my wedding. So you meet some really good lifelong friends. We had a group of guys all got together, went to Canada for the F1 race one year. So you meet some good people on here, and if you're lucky, you might even meet them in person.
Well,
I was going to say that a lot of these guys even meet up at Watkins Glen and Bristol every year. So, this entire league has such a good camaraderie as we're coming to the green. Hopefully, we make it through another season with everyone sticking by. And these rookies, man, I hope you guys stay for a while. It seems to be going pretty well beginning of the season so far, but I hope you guys stick around, man. You'll find some of the nicest guys you'll ever meet here, willing to help so much too.
Well, talking to Eddie, we did the same thing in another racing league I was in, and we all met in Bristol and found out some of you guys were there too. So yeah, look forward to seeing some of you guys around the racetracks, getting to know each other and race some races here.
Well, what I'm getting ready for is some more racing as the pace car's made its way down onto pit road, and the green flag's about to come back out in the air. And we are back racing with 9 laps to go. And Brett Merle out in front gets a good launch here on the restart. A little too good of a restart, though. as he's got no help from behind, and that's going to allow the field to come up and swallow him pretty quickly. Brian Canuti's going to move up to the high side, up in front of Will Witt. Will's going to give a big shove to that 40 machine. Good to see Brian back in that 40 as they come rocketing down the backstretch. Brett Merle, though, has some help from behind in the form of that 37 Derek Chaput, and Chaput's no stranger to super speedways. Definitely one of the guys to watch out for on the super speedways, as he can surprise you and be there at the end.
See Brian take the bottom side there again, so this will be interesting.
So it looks like Devin Butchno has had to retire from this portion of the race as we're going back 3 wide racing again. David Wright, though, he's able to hang. Well, he was hanging right there, but I think he's got too much damage now and he's fallen off the field. So that 84 is going to be counted out, but he's just trying to keep his average finish good enough to keep him in the middle of the field for the second race.
Well, again, this is super speedway. Anything could happen. There could be another caution. He can get some more damage fixed. Heck, he may even come back and win the stage if stuff like that happens. So it's super speedways. Anything's possible.
Up front, though, Will Witt getting a good run. Oh, gets a big wiggle out of Colin Willems. Big wiggle. That's going to stack the whole field up. And now Colin Willems in the middle. He's got some help from his teammate, Cody Moore, and Will Witt's going to fall back into the 10th position. He's going to continue to fall back as the entire field really just had to check up. One driver, though, is not checking up. He's making his way up to the front, finding his teammates now. That's at 82 of Joe Wright. He's already back up into the top 10 after starting dead last in the field. And we know he's going to try to get himself up in that high lane, try to move himself up towards the front. Brett Merle, though, holding his own there in the middle, getting a good push from Dustin Dean. We've seen Dean really push good all night long, and we're still seeing that 21 truck push. He's now got Eddie Morris and Joe Wright right behind, so that's 4 really good super speedway racers in that middle lane. As Brett, one truck just got up into the wall. Brett Merle just had a little blinking issue there for a second. Now, one thing we haven't talked about at all tonight is temperatures. These trucks can overheat very easily if you stay tucked right in that back bumper, as Derek Chaput and Brett Merle now chuck up into that middle lane. And wow, Chaput's going to take the lead. I thought Merle was going to turn Chaput for a second. Those two just hooked up for a second, got themselves right around Brian Canuti, but here comes Canuti back down on the low side to give a push to Derek Chaput. Now we got Colin Willems and Cody Moore up on the high side with Cheeseburger and Will Witt. And we are back to 3 wide racing with 5 laps to go.
I think they definitely can get hot, but in our races when we were bumper to bumper, we were not having any water temperature or oil temperature issues. So I don't know if there was an update. I don't know if they changed something, but we weren't having any issues in our 10 to 15 lap races.
Saw the smoke off the wall as Cheeseburger Lawrence was up in the wall for just a second. Looks like he might have broke his momentum just a little bit. That's going to kill the run up on the high side. Because right now, Derek Chaput leads that low lane. But here comes the Merles, Brian Merle and Brett Merle up through the middle. Junior trying to get a good run here. And Atlian Weiss right here in the mix as well. He's 4th on the bottom along with Jeff Belk. So drivers who were keeping themselves out of trouble in the first part of this race, hanging back at the back, now find themselves up to the front trying to make something happen. And Joe Wright has fallen all the way back into the last car in the pack.
And at this point, as much as we would want to win this race, it is important. Position is important for the start of the next race. Next race is the finale, so that's definitely where they should focus their energy and just kind of try to keep it clean the rest of this race.
And I know Joe's back there in the back right now, but he's trying to get himself a good run. He's going to have the momentum and the energy from the back there. So I'm not worried about Joe. Don't be surprised if we're talking about him on the last lap. But
Yeah, David, but these are racers, so they're going to race for the win no matter what position they're in. They're going to still try to go for it. You know it as well as I do. It happened in our race, and I think they're going to try to do the same thing.
Oh, they definitely will.
And as I say that, we see Cody Moore and Will Witt up on that high lane by themselves. Those two trucks are not going to be able to do anything now. Eddie Morris and Dustin Dean creep up into that high lane as Joe Wright's now going to tuck up in there as well. So we're just talking about we were going to see him towards the end, and now he's trying to find himself up towards the front. As Derek Chaput continues to lead with Brian Canuti giving him the push. And the Merle brothers in the second lane working together. Eddie Morris up on that third lane. Coming across the stripe, we have just 2 laps to go. Derek Chaput continues to lead by just a nose as here comes Brian Merle Jr. with another good push here. And now Eddie Morris, Joe Wright, Cody Moore, Will Witt up in that 4th lane. That's 4 trucks hooked up out there. Expect a huge run out of that top line as they come down the backstretch. Junior trying to do everything he can to side draft and keep that lane as Brian Canuti now makes the move up to the high side, the middle lane. Oh, Dustin Dean gets turned. They're wrecking behind. Caution is out. Looks like Michael Provolt might have missed it, but Will Witt's involved in it. Dustin Dean. Can't tell if Joe Wright got a little piece of... Yeah, Joe's got some damage to the right side of his truck as well. Believe Cody Moore was caught up in that. Eddie Morris, looks like he got through that one cleanly. See if we can bring up the Wreckage Rewind. I apologize for the graphics on the Wreckage Rewind. I'm not sure why the... Well, what I was trying to do was get something on the background there, and now we've got something there. So let's bring up that Wreckage Rewind, and we'll bring that from the blimp to see exactly what happened here. Cheeseburger comes down just a little bit. That forces, big net code. So see Jake McCarty turn Dustin Dean without actually touching him. That's what we call net code, where the truck doesn't know exactly where it is. Joe Wright gets involved. Cody Moore up into the wall as well. Resumed in just a little bit more than we want to be. And let's see if we can see this from a little different view here. So yeah, there's the contact there between Dustin Dean, Cheeseburger. There's McCarty, Joe Wright involved there as well. Looks like everybody else was able to sneak through unscathed.
That's definitely going to leave a mark.
For sure, as we have just... We're going to have a little green-white checker shootout here. Got some call-outs, shout-outs here in the chat. Want to make do with here, and I will not hit the reset button this time, guys, I promise. Let's see, we've got Mick Olfson saying, didn't think racing, but let's go, Will. Yeah, we got the All-Star race going on there, Mick, so good to see you joining us here tonight. And rooting your boy Will on here tonight. And this is going to be a wild green-white finish here tonight. So we're going to have the lights are going to be going off on the pace car this time by. We're going to have one lap to go before we go back green flag racing. Well, my screen just decided that it wanted to flicker, and I apologize for that. Let's get that back. And I'm going to leave you two with the broadcast for just a moment. I have to step away for 1 second. I will be right back.
So, David, what do you think? Who's going to win this shootout?
Yeah, sorry about that. Been dealing with something in the sim.
Oh,
Man, you got Jeff up front. He's good. Nudie also. I mean, there's just a lot of big hitters up there. Junior's up there. Chappie's up there. You got Atlee up there as well. So I mean, it's anybody's game at this point, honestly.
that inside line, look, it's like where you want to be. So, I think I wouldn't mind be on the inside as well. The outside gets a little dicey when they try to go 3 wide, and you lose a lot of momentum. So,
Yeah,
the inside's probably.
Yeah, to tag onto you, that outside line has definitely been like hitting a brick wall out there. I'm not sure what's going on, but they're definitely hitting a brick wall when they're on the outside line. That inside line just keeps so much momentum in the corners.
Yeah, I tried that in our race, and as soon as we came out of the corners, you're right. I hit a wall and watched everybody go by me. It just, I don't know what to say about it, but it's there.
The old phrase we used to use is the driver threw out the parachute and check that whole line up. And it does feel like that, like you have a parachute on the back of your truck and you just start falling backwards. It's really, really dominant in these trucks because of how square they are. And they're pushing a big hole of air, so they're not quite as aerodynamic as the Cup cars or even the Xfinity cars would be. So that's where you see these trucks really start to check up when they try to pull out in draft, unless you can get two guys who can pull out in unison and keep that momentum going.
And you're hoping the guy behind you goes with you, because if you don't, you just gave up the spot.
Oh, for sure. That's the first thing that you need to see is know who's behind you, if they're going to go with you or not, especially if they're a teammate or someone you trust. Like if I'm behind Eddie or I'm behind Joe, even though they're not teammates, we've raced with each other enough to know, and I know how to run super speedways with them, that I know that they're either going to come with me or they're going to go with, come with me or I'm going to go with them. So.
Sure.
But here we go. Lights are off on the pace car. It's making that hard left-hand turn on the pit road. And Derek Chaput's going to lead them back down to the Geico restart zone as we're going to have ourselves a green-white checker. As they slowly approach the restart zone, green flag is back in the air. We are back racing. And Chaput, if I was Chaput, I would jump up in front of Brian Canuti right here, which is exactly what he does. Try to break his momentum and then tuck back down with Canuti. That's a beautiful move right there. Almost like I drew that up in my mind. But here comes the Merles. The Merles are hooked back up on that high side, and they're coming in a hurry. Junior up on the high side with his brother in tow. Now we've got Joe Wright and Eddie Morris and Michael Provolt diving up to the high side as Colin Willems is going to tuck in behind the Merles. Try to keep that middle lane going as they come off of turn number 4. And down to the tri-oval. White flag will be in the air. We'll have just one lap to go to settle it here in our second stage. Derek Chaput out in front by about a car length and a half. Get a big push by Brian Canuti. Eddie Morris up to the high side now. He's got Michael Provolt and Joe Wright up there on the high side. In the middle, you've got the Merles and Colin Willems. Down on the low side, you've got the rest of the field. Now Colin Willems tucks up in front of Eddie Morris as they come rocketing down the backstretch for the final time and down into turns 3 and 4. Brian Canuti up in front of the Merles in that middle lane. That's going to check that entire middle lane up. Joe Wright in the middle there. He's checking up hard as Derek Chaput continues to lead with Jeffrey Belk giving him the push as they come down the little short street. Oh, Belk gets turned. Canuti gets turned. Derek Chaput as they're wrecking here down across the line. Chaput is gonna win the stage. Jeffrey Belk's gonna come home second. David Wright, you were talking about it earlier, Hartney. You called it. David Wright stays out of trouble even with all that damage, and he has a great finish back in third.
It's just a matter of time, man. That's how super speedways work. You can keep it clean, it's gonna happen on that last coming out of that tri-oval. So saw it coming. Honestly, he's a good driver at these tracks.
For sure. Let's see if we can pull Derek Chaput down into the room and congratulate him. Where is that entire team moved their moved where they were going to? So they used to be at the top. Now they're towards the bottom. Let's bring in.
Josh, I'm going to step away for a second. I'll be right back.
10-4. Let's bring in Derek Chaput and talk to him. Derek, you've got Josh and Eddie up in the booth. Got us?
I got you.
Well, not Eddie Morris. You got Eddie Manning up here in the booth. And man, what a win for you here tonight. That was an incredible finish.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun there for sure.
So,
yeah, I don't really know what to say, but I was trying to hold off Nudie, and then they wrecked, so I took home the victory.
Don't know what to do with your hands right now. I totally understand. Well, man, you coming down to it, you had the lead, and then that caution came out with 2 to go, the green-white checker. Did it kind of feel a little, did you feel like the green-white checker might have hindered you a little bit, and were you a little worried when that came out?
I was, for sure, especially whenever you get the lead. I was worried I was going to get a jump, and then the pack was going to just blow by me, but like I said, I kind of kept myself in front of Nudie, and I felt like I had it there until towards the end, but then they wrecked and it all worked out.
Well, I know you guys are getting things underway and getting ready to get back out onto the track. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank, any shots you got to give here tonight?
Yeah, just all the guys at Wasted Wages Racing, just for having fun with me every week, and you guys up in the booth, and the rest of the guys racing.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congrats and on the win, and go get them here in this final stage.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, like we said, it was going to be one of those last lap shootouts for sure, and everybody was trying, and man was in the right place at the right time, ran a good race.
And he's one that you cannot count out here on these super speedways, Derek Chaput. I've seen it time and time again, and he shows exactly how to get it done here at the super speedway. So it looks like we've got a little bit of warm-up going on. We've got Dustin Dean mowing the lawn, Michael Provolt doing some donuts as well. So we're getting things underway. It's allowing Devin Butchno to enter everything into a spreadsheet so we can get the final stage running order set. Again, the final stage will be set by the average finish of the first 2 stages.
Now you ask yourself, do you play it safe the first 10 laps? Do you try to win it on the first 10 laps? Do you try to stay safe and get at the end? The way they're racing tonight, it looks like they're going to go for it no matter what. So
me being as everybody knows, kind of a self-proclaimed, not really self-proclaimed, I've proved it on the track many times, a bit of a super speedway guy. The 20 laps is not a lot of time to get things done. You want to get yourself up to the front as quickly as possible. If you're not able to get up to the front, yeah, you can lay back there, but they're just as much of an option. You can just as easily try to keep it out of trouble in the back and still get caught up in something, especially in a 20-lap run. So I think your best opportunity is to try to get everything you can as early as can and keep yourself up towards the front.
In the race we ran earlier tonight in the rookie race, I had that same thought. Stay in the back, let the wrecks happen, come through nice and clean. And you're right. No matter where you're at, it can bite you, and which happened to me. But the way these guys are running, I'm thinking that they're going to try to win it on the first lap. They want to get out front, stay out of the back or towards the middle of the pack, and clean air, and stay up front and have a good race.
That's for sure. And while we got a few moments, we want to thank everybody again for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. We do appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with us here tonight as we get the season back underway in the SCSRA. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. We've got some stuff in the works. It's going to be really exciting, and we're looking forward to it coming up. Also, don't forget to check out our great partners down below in the description. You can find all your iRacing merchandise, or iRacing Intensity, League, and some novelty t-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, mouse pads, and Atman Weiss's gear as well over at intensitybroadcasting.com. You can check the link below. Really does help us out. You can also visit our partner, raceepi.com, for all your setups and coaching needs here on iRacing. And of course, don't forget to check out the Butt Kicker. The Butt Kicker is an established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel ultra-low frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC, console gamers, including professional sim racers. The patented design makes them incredibly accurate, powerful, and virtually indestructible. The Gamer Plus is a new and upgraded sim racing haptic that reproduces immersive, accurate, and powerful sim racing, flight sim, and gaming effects. Check out the entire line of products and figure out which one's right for you. Check out thebuttkicker.com. And not just do they have racing haptics and gaming haptics, they have subwoofers that you can put on or around your couch so you can feel movies and music. For racing, you can put one on your seat. I just race in an office chair. I've got the Butt Kicker on the back. It lets me feel when the tires start to slide, when the tires lock up, RPMs of the engine, shifts. Whenever you go over rumple strips, it's incredibly realistic and accurate and a lot of fun. Adds a little bit extra immersion to the sim, but it also gives you that feedback as well. You can also run two of them, one at the front and one at the back to simulate the forces in the front and rear of the car. Or if you really want to, you can run four, one on each corner to really maximize that feel without having to get a motion rig. So figure out which one's right for you. I highly recommend checking out The Butt Kicker at thebuttkicker.com.
And what you're going to see right now, guys, I know I'm just coming back, but what you're going to see right now is there are lining up in order in their average finishes from 1 and 2. That's why they're on the inside. Just getting all that set up right now. I will be right back. I have to make sure all the penalties get clear from the beginning of this.
And we'll be right here as these guys get sorted out and get ready so we can go back green flag racing for 20 laps.
I was thinking I need those butt kickers actually in my truck so I can feel that rear end breaking loose.
I'll tell you what.
All the help I can get.
I'll tell you what. It's probably one of the most inexpensive but best tools. Since I've got the Butt Kicker, I race in VR. So with the Butt Kicker and VR, it's so immersive. You feel like you're actually in the car. But it does give you that little bit of help. It does. You do feel when you go over the limit a little bit. You feel the back end starting to shake a little bit. You feel all the bumps in the track. What's really cool is because I run in VR, when you go over rumple strips at like Watkins Glen or any of the road courses, the chair actually vibrates with the strips, and because you have a headset on, your head vibrates as well. So your vision gets a little blurry as you go across those, just like real life if you were to go over those in a real car. So it's kind of a really, really neat way to have a little bit of immersion, but it does help you at the same time. So definitely something to check out if you're looking. You can find the link down below, thebuttkicker.com.
Well, as a rookie, I'm going to need all the help I can get, so I'm maybe looking into that.
So here we go, 25 laps. I thought it was 20, but it's 25 laps the distance of this final stage. Cody Moore is going to be on pole. Joe Wright is going to start in second. Michael Provault and Jeff Belk in row number 2. Then Brian Merle Jr. and Atlee Weiss in row number 3 as we are back green flag racing. And for right now, I'm going to put the tower up so you can see exactly pretty much where everybody started here. as the field makes their way down the backstretch for the first time of the final stage. And we see Jeffrey Belk giving a huge push to Joe Wright and Atlee Atman Weiss up on that high side as well. And you know those two IDBC teammates working up there on the high side. Joe used to be one of those IDBC guys. He still runs the Intensity logo on the truck. So you know that Atman's up there telling Jeff, just push Joe, get him out to the front. It's only going to help us out. Cody Moore getting a great push, though, for Michael Provolt down on the low side. And Brett Merle back there as well. Pardon me, that's Brian Merle Jr. down on the low side, trying to get himself back in position as well. And you see these guys leave that middle lane such wide open, and I'm surprised we don't see more guys try to run it up the middle there. And a much calmer start to this one, being 25 laps long. Brian Canuti trying to cut his way through the field now as he's up into the 13th position, trying to work around Will Witt.
When you see a lot of these guys being a little more cautious at the beginning of this, so it's 25 laps, so 100% fuel, still no fast repairs, so got to be a little more careful with this one.
Derek Chaput, our second stage winner, kind of just hanging in the middle there. Eddie Morris, Dave Wright down on that low line as well, doing the same thing. So everybody just kind of, again, playing it real cautious right now. Brett Merle all the way back, sitting back in the 16th position, right with his teammate, Devin Bucciano. And we saw this earlier in the season. The Neon guys liking to run in the back together, trying to keep themselves out of trouble. Brian Merle Jr., the only Neon driver that's not taking that strategy. He's right up front in the mix. Now Atman up on the high side. He's just been forced out into that third row all by himself. And I think he's going to fall back to the back of the pack. Not sure if that was by design or if he just got shoved out. As look at this. Look who's up in the lead now. Joe Wright gets the push up in front of Cody Moore and moved Joe Wright up into the lead as Jeff Belk now fighting on the outside. As he's trying to take the lead away from Joe Wright. Dustin Dean, Michael Cheeseburger right there in the mix as well. And Cheeseburger, as I mentioned, becoming quite the super speedway racer himself as he won the Xfinity race here at Talladega at the end of the season. Now Cody Moore is going to tuck up in front of Jeffrey Belk, and he's going to try to get the lead away from Joe Wright as they come down the backstretch. Dave Wright down on the apron trying to get himself out of the out of the hornet's nest here as he sees what's happening in front. And oh, Belk got loose trying to come back across the nose, almost wiped out on the apron coming across the nose in front of Joe Wright. But put Belk up into the second position as he pushed Cody Moore back into the lead. Now we're coming to that magic number as they're coming across the line to go 20 laps to go. And they're already starting to get a little more aggressive here as we are 3 wide for the lead as Joe Wright has Dustin Dean give him another shove here towards the front.
Well, it looked like there that Cody was trying to possibly come back down in front of Jeff, but Jeff just had a run on him and couldn't take that.
Now Michael Provolt going to duck down to the apron to get out of the swarm. As they are back to 3 wide with Will Witt up on the high side. Colin Willems in the middle. Jeff Belk down on the low side. Now they're starting to string back out just a little bit. As we see the field from the blimp. Cody Moore, Dustin Dean out in front. Dustin up on that high side's got a little bit of momentum as he's getting a run down into the corner. And now Will Witt up to the third lane. He's got a little bit of help up there as they come down through turns 1 and 2. They're going to bring it back to 2 wide. That's Derek Chaput on the high side along with his Wasted Wages teammate, Will Witt. So another truck down on the apron trying to stay out of the mix. That was Brett Merle in the 11. So a lot of drivers just trying to bide their time. We do have 100% fuel, so fuel will not be an issue. These trucks can go about 36 to 38 laps on a tank of fuel. So we know that they're not going to have to pit for fuel. These drivers just trying to keep themselves out of trouble as Joe Wright trying to give a huge shove to Cody Moore, and Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence has Jeffrey Belk in tow, as well as Dustin Dean and Eddie Morris work up the middle lane. Colin Willems and Will Witt up on the high side. And some big movement here now as a big block was thrown. And Joe Wright trying to get himself in front of Dustin Dean and Eddie Morris. Those 3 teammates hooked up in the middle lane. Wasted Wages up on the high side minus Cody Moore, who's down on the low side.
And you can definitely tell these guys are being a little more cautious this time. Look at where Brian is in the pack. He's given himself plenty of room to be able to avoid whatever's fixing to come. Starting to get a little more aggressive. Here we are, 10 laps in or 9 laps into the race. So that's going to be a pretty good one.
Ooh, Cody Moore made a very aggressive move. Almost caught himself down on the apron as Michael Provolt gets up into the wall. Dustin Dean making a big move.
I was going to say, as a rookie, I think I'd want Dean behind me. He's seems to be pushing anybody and everybody that gets in front of him. Looks like a very good, strong, hard charger there.
Yeah, Dustin Dean works his way up into the lead now, up in front of Joe Wright. Joe doing everything he can. He's going to try to return the favor that Dustin gave him earlier, as now Eddie Morris is giving a big shove to Colin Willems up on the high side with Will Witt, Derek Chaput, and Michael Provolt up on the high side as well. And again, you want to make sure you're nice and square when you hit that bumper in front of you. If you're just a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, as we saw, it can really get those trucks out of shape and cause a big mess. And as you know, we don't have any cautions. Any resets. Oh! Joe Wright's forced all the way down onto the apron. Looks like he might have got a little bump there from Cody Moore. You can't push the pusher. That's going to send Joe Wright all the way back into the 6th position as Colin Willems takes over the lead. How about this? Eddie Morris, really haven't talked about him too much tonight, as he's been caught up in a couple wrecks and he hasn't really been able to get himself up to the front. But the winningest driver in SCSRA Super Speedway history now finds himself on the 2nd spot in the low lane, trying to take over the lead here with 15 laps to go.
I think what Eddie's going to do at this point, he knows how to race these races. A lot of these guys know really well. It's not time to battle. Yes, and I agree with you, Edward. They are racers. They're going to push. But they know, and Eddie knows, it. You don't start going real hard till 3-4 laps.
Yes, Dustin Dean takes over the lead. And personally, as I said in the race earlier, that's where I want to be. I want to be that second truck. Oh, big block here by Dustin Dean, forcing Colin Willems down below the yellow line as they are 3 wide across the tri-oval, and Eddie Morris is going to take over the lead. If I'm a leader, or if I'm a driver where I want to be that second driver in line on the bottom lane, because I feel like from there you can control the entire race. If you want to push the leader out in front, you can. If you want to pull the leader back and let that outside row full up a little bit, you can. If you want to change the momentum of either the high lane or the low lane, that second truck on the low lane can do that. To me, it's almost the catbird seat. It's almost better than being the leader because you can control everything. But like Joe Wright said, he wants to be up on that high side hanging it out. That's exactly what he's doing right now with Eddie Morris in front and Dustin Dean right behind.
Well, as a rookie who's never run in this league or run a truck, there's a few things that I picked up here tonight already, and it looks pretty nice that these guys are in control as much as they are, with some of these trucks being as loose as they are.
Yeah, these guys have a lot of practice in these trucks. Something does feel different this season, I'm not going to lie. Last season, they were not this unstable on the straightaway when you're pushing. So something does feel a little bit different, but these guys are all very experienced. They, especially in this league with these guys in here, they've been racing together for a while. They know what they can and can't do, who's safe to race around, who's safe to push, things like that. But looking up at my map, I see that there's, 4 or 5 guys falling off the pace back there, just going into turn 3 or 4 right now.
Yeah, Eddie Morris just got shoved out of line. He's fallen all the way back to the 7th position as Cody Moore and Colin Willems continue to battle for the lead. Joe Wright right there as they are 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 all the way through the field, 3 wide. And that was those Neon boys. They're all lined up back here, and they're in trouble. Brian Merle Jr., Brett Merle, Jake McCarty. They are all way off the pace. They're 11 seconds back and continuing to drop as their team principal, Devin Butchino, runs back in the 14th position. He's battling with Atman Weiss and David Wright. Up front, though, Eddie Morris was just back in 7th position, and now he's in the lead. And that's just how quickly things can happen here at a super speedway.
Yeah, I'm really interested in what happened with Junior, Brett, and Jake. I don't know if they got into something earlier, or if this is maybe by design to avoid that big one coming.
Of course, you know, it's not if the big one happens, it's when the big one happens. And even though right now these guys are running awfully cordial and playing nice with each other, we've seen a couple big blocks already. Drivers getting down on the apron, drivers forcing drivers in the places they don't want to be. And we might see that again as the laps wind down. As they cross the line this time, we'll have just 10 laps to go.
And this is where they're going to start getting aggressive. You got 10 laps left. They've been the blocking has been becoming more prevalent, but this is definitely where it's going to start happening, where people are going to start getting real aggressive. We're going to go back 3 wide, possibly 4 wide. It's just a matter of time.
Eddie Morris tries to block the 52 of Cody Moore. He was not having any of it. Went around the outside, and now Cody Moore takes over the lead with 10 laps to go. Here comes Will Witt up on the high side. He's got a big push from Derek Chaput. So, again, these super speedway guys, these guys that know how to run these super speedways, really rising to the top here. Guys like Eddie Morris, Will Witt, Derek Chaput, Joe Wright. You're seeing them making their way back up to the front now. We're seeing Atman make his way back into the mix now. He's sitting back in 9th. Don't count him out. We saw the same thing in the first race, and we saw him get the victory. Let's see if he's able to use those skills that he learned earlier and those skills that he's learned in the Bandolero with some drafting too to get himself back up to the front. As now Will Witz takes over the lead.
And I was just going to say, now you got Cody and Will hooked up together. So imagine they're going to start pushing real hard. So watch that bottom lane just kind of flow past everybody.
As Joe Wright now pulls up to the high side, he's got some help in the form of Dustin Dean, Brian Canuti, and Michael Provolt. That is a stacked top line as well. Colin Willems and Derek Chaput, those 2 trucks in the middle, they're going to be in the sucker hole right now, as they are not going to be able to hold on just those 2 trucks alone. As we mentioned in the first race, 2 trucks will be faster than 1 truck. Once you start getting 3 and 4 trucks lined up, then they really start to pick up speed. And you really need a maximum of 3 or a minimum of 3 trucks to try to get anything going here. And that's what we see hooked up on that high lane right now between Joe Wright, Dustin Dean, and Brian Canuti.
Well, and if you can tell, I mean, it seems like that side draft has a big effect on these trucks this season.
In a side draft, for those watching at home that don't know, side draft doesn't mean that it pulls your truck forward. What you're actually doing is if you can pull right alongside of the truck next to you, and that wake that comes off, a wake of air like a wake of water that comes off a boat, you can dump that wake right onto the spoiler as Cody Moore gets a little out of shape there off the front bumper of Eddie Morris. You can dump that wake right onto that big spoiler on the back of the truck and actually slow down the truck next to you. So it doesn't necessarily speed you up, it just slows them down, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And the guys who know how to do it well, guys like Joe Wright and Will Witt, they're able, and Eddie Morris for that matter, they're able to manipulate that air in a way that doesn't speed them up, but just slows everybody around them down. Now Joe Wright in that middle lane. You're going to see exactly this side draft. So Joe's going to try to get right alongside Cody Moore, dump that air on, and then he's going to pull away. And that's exactly what he does right there. That way he's not going to get that wake coming off of Cody back onto his spoiler. And that's what's going to propel that 82 and that 21 forward. You saw Cody trying to dump the air back on Joe, but he was far enough away where it didn't affect him. And that's where the art of side drafting comes into play. You know, I talk about it all the time. It's like playing chess at 200 miles an hour because you have to look 2 or 3 moves ahead of you. And that's exactly what they're doing. Joe Wright away from that inside lane right now, trying to make sure the air doesn't get dumped onto his spoiler. But as he comes into the corner here, he's going to tuck right down onto the side of Cody Moore to try to slow the momentum of that inside lane.
But as we come to 5 to go, this is where everyone's going to start getting real aggressive.
Oh, what a
here we
round!
go.
Jeffrey Belk around. Atman caught up in this one as well. We saw Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence coming to a slide down at the entrance of pit road. You know who this is a huge benefit for? Those 3 Neon boys that were sitting back in the pack as we get ready to take a look at the Wreckage Rewind here to see exactly what happened.
And again, I don't know if it was by design or not, but they're definitely going to benefit from this one to get back in the group.
Trying to find a good view here of this one as we get... Oh, let's rewind this just a little bit more because this actually happened a little bit sooner than that. See Cheeseburger and Jeffrey Belk. Eddie Morris gets down on the apron, comes back up the track. That checks Cheeseburger up. Belk gets in the back of Cheeseburger, comes across the track into Brian Canuti. Canuti hits the outside wall. Cheeseburger comes back down across the track. Atman has nowhere to go. The C's part for Devin Butchino. Look at that as Atman comes back across the bumper. Oh, Butchino runs out of luck there. He gets a little bit of contact. I don't think it's going to be enough to slow down that 68 too much. Same with Brian Canuti. Looks like just mild damage. Same with Jeff Belk. But this changes everything.
And there's 3 or 4 guys caught up in that one, but you know who wasn't caught up in that one? All the Murrow boys, the Neon Racing team.
And you know who was caught up in that one?
Myself, Brian Nudie.
Brian Canuti joins us up in the booth. Brian, talk us through that right there. Can you? I know it looked like a little bit of a checkup and people getting in the back of each other, but what did you see from your view?
I was just cruising along in the outside lane, and all of a sudden, I just see Cheesy B coming across my front bow. There, had nowhere to go. It just happened so quick, and that's my night. Man, we had such a good run going. I mean, 20 green flag laps. So that was a wild race there.
For sure, and it looked like a completely different race from what we saw the first 2 stages. Everybody was really aggressive in those 15 lappers, but with 25 laps, it seems like people were able to kind of dial it back a little bit, kind of pick out their moves they were going to make. What did you feel was the biggest difference between the first 2 stages and that stage?
Just like you said, just the longer laps, knowing that it's going to be a little bit longer. And then just there with coming to 5 to go, it was starting to kind of get go time. I was actually starting to go earlier, tried to get in a little train there with Joe and Dustin Dean, and we were able to get them to the front. And then unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to go, all three of us. So it just kind of they were able to get down, and I kind of dropped the bag, and then I ended up getting involved in that wreck. But yeah, I think that's it's just the longer laps just kind of calmed everybody down. I think this is kind of what you'll see more so in the season, not those little 15-lap sprints where everybody's just trying to get to the front as quickly as they can.
Now, for someone who's been out there a little bit longer than the other two guys who were in the booth here, talk about how the truck changed its handling as the run went on. I know we had two 10-lappers in the a 10 and a 15 in the first one. This one being a little bit longer stage. Did the truck handling start to go away there towards the end of this run, or did the truck feel as loose and squirrely as it did in the beginning of the run?
I actually felt like the truck was getting better. Just the lighter fuel load made it like a little tighter, and I thought it was easier to drive myself.
So that's typical of old super speedway on iRacing, where as the fuel burns off, the spoiler comes up in the air and gives you a little bit more stability. So that actually does make sense, bringing that back into effect. Well, Canuti, are you going to join us here for the conclusion of this fine race?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Man, who's your pick for the win? Everybody, starting with Canuti, who's your pick here tonight?
I don't see how I can't pick anybody other than my teammates, D. Wright and Dustin D. And I got to go with either one of those. But if you gun to my head, I'll say D. Wright. Sorry, Joe Wright. Joe Wright. My bad. Yeah, sorry, Joe Wright.
Hartney, who you got?
There's obviously my team, Jeff and Atlee, but they both got some damage on that last one. I'm gonna have to go with Eddie, man. I'm not gonna discount him on this one. I'm gonna go with Eddie.
Edward, I know you're kind of new to the league. You're just kind of getting into things here. Who you got in this one?
I've been watching him all night long, and he's really impressed me by the way he races and the way he sticks with people. But I'm going to go with Dean. I really like the way Dean races.
I'm going to go way out in right field here, and I'm going to go with Brian Merle Jr. He was sitting in the back here, kept himself out of trouble, showed some speed earlier in the race. Expect those Neon boys to hook up and get themselves up to the front, and I think Junior is going to come home with a win tonight.
That would be pretty cool to see Junior win. I think didn't he win last year's All-Star race? No, it was 2 years ago he won.
2 years ago he won that All-Star race. So we'll see if he's able to bring that brand new paint job into victory lane here tonight. But we are re-racked, restacked. The lights on the pace car are off. We're going to refire here. And we're going to have ourselves the most exciting 3 words in motorsports. Green, white, checker.
Let's go.
And Brian, if it's any consolation, you do have the fastest lap time.
Hey, and that means absolutely nothing.
If it's any consolation,
Sorry,
Canuti, at least you can't finish second.
Yeah.
We see you brought the famous red, white, and blue back too. So we'll love to see that pit truck back on the on the track, and we'll look forward to seeing that truck all season long.
Actually, I'll be up in the booth with you all season long.
Oh, that's right. You will be up in the booth with me for about 4 races.
Yeah.
But here we go. We're getting ready to go back. Green flag racing as they make their way down to the Geico restart zone. Joe Wright up on the high side. Dustin Dean down on the bottom. Will Witt right behind Dean. Derek Chaput right behind Joe. Green flag is back in the air. We are back racing, and Joe Wright gets a great jump out in front of his teammate Dustin Dean. He's able to tuck down in line. Will Witt tried to tuck the nose down underneath Dean, but just not able to get that done. Here comes Cody Moore up to the high side. He's going to tuck in behind his wasted wages teammate Derek Chaput, and here comes Colin Willems up on that high side as well.
Got a huge run coming on that outside. Chappie. That is Chappie.
Yep, Chappie up on the high side. We got 3 wide racing for a moment as Will Witt tried to force it in there 3 wide. So you come down into turns 3 and 4, and Chappie going to take over the lead.
He ditched his teammate, but now they got the inside line and the outside line all blocked up with Wasted Wages Racing.
And here comes D. Wright up. Oh, turned!
Oh,
Dustin Dean up on his roof. Caution is out.
Man, what What happened there?
And we are going to re-rack them and do it all over again. But let's take a look at the wreckage. Rewind.
It looks like I think this is going to be on Colin.
And it looks like from my screen, it might have started here with Eddie Morris as well. We'll take a look here from the chopper. And it looks like D. Wright got into Colin Willems just a little bit. Maybe not enough. Looks up to the high side, and Colin just turns his teammate. Cody Moore goes up across the track. Colin tries to follow him up. D. Wright gets involved, makes contact. Dustin Dean up and over on his side. Eddie Morris getting a piece of that as well. Brett Merle. Doesn't look like too much damage to that 8 machine unless he comes sliding down into the inside wall. We'll see if he makes contact with this inside wall here, and he does.
That's night over for my man Eddie.
Yeah, it looks like night over. Cody Moore, Atman Weiss involved in that one again, and that is going to do it for a couple of the Wasted Wages drivers. And we're going to do it all over again.
Well, that was intense. So who did we lose there? Did I lose my pick? I did not lose my pick. My pick's still in second place there. But Eddie, who had Eddie? That'd be
Lost mine.
Joe. That's your pick.
I
Oh,
had
you
Dean.
lost.
I had
yep.
Dean.
So we lost 2 picks. Brett Merle, he got a little piece of that. He didn't get too much of it, though. Yeah, he's a heck of a super speedway racer. I accidentally took him out in the very first stage. He checked up, and I just had nowhere to go, and just kind of got into the back of him, and just kind of ruined a lot of people's race in that first stage. If you know, you know. Edward will know here soon and shortly. It looks like Cody Moore just joined the booth.
Hey guys. I think my teammate wrecked me. That's what I think went down there.
No such thing as a teammate at the end of the race.
Well, I'll say it.
The one thing we got to know though is Colin's truck okay?
Yeah, I think Colin's okay. That was pretty. I don't know what it looked like from your point of view, but that was a crazy race.
Three tonight.
Yeah.
Yes.
I gotta be honest. I think so.
Yes, it's non-points race. Wins the only thing that matters. 100%.
I did not take out Will. I'm saving that for the regular season. I try to not mind myself with issues like that during off weeks.
Yeah, keep an eye on the 3 wasted wages here in the front, and Joe unfortunately doesn't have any help.
Here.
Not the trucks to his left and his rear.
That is very true. I am pulling for Joe, though. That's my boy. That's my teammate. Let's go, Joe.
I'll take a winner in the bottom 10 right now.
Anything's possible, man.
Here we go. That was Joe Wright's best chance at a win here, trying to break up those 3. Now he's only got to battle 2 instead of all 3. They got to run. They're a lot tighter than those wasted wages guys down at the bottom. Oh, we're 3 wide now. Oh, he's got it! Wow, 1-2 CCM. Congratulations. That is awesome.
How about Dean all the way from the back?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. He is definitely a very aggressive driver at Super Speedway races, and he does an awesome job. Yeah.
Well, as another rookie, I'm gonna have to hook up with him and get a few tips there.
Yeah.
Didn't they finish 1-2?
Yep, they did finish
On the
1-2.
first? Yeah. On
Yep.
the first race? Yeah. Yeah. See?
Yeah, Dustin is he's a heck of a pusher, that's for sure. And Joe Wright is just he's a master at this stuff. Him, Eddie, those and Colin. I'd put those 3 guys. I feel like every time we go to Super Speedway racing, it's always those 3 kind of battling out for the win. Well, not Dustin Dean. He's new. But Joe Wright, Colin Williams. Yeah, you can go ahead and read the top 3 if you'd like. We'll start off with Dustin Dean.
Do it.
Well, thank you very much on that one. Yeah, I mean, we're just trying to focus on getting the team up towards the front. Trying to play everything out, especially that last green white checkered. With me and Chappie being lined up, we knew we had a decent shot at it. Coming out of the 4, basically going to the trial on that last lap. I don't know if it showed it on broadcast, but with how iRacing is, people glitch out every once in a while, and Chappie disappeared for about a half a second on my screen, and I knew at that point I couldn't lift, and ended up turning them. So, apologize to the guys for causing that big one at the end. That would have been a good finish. But I mean, third place, All-Star race really doesn't mean a whole lot, but I'll still take it.
Yeah, good job, Will. Great racing with you all night, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to wreck you tonight. But there's always tomorrow.
Yeah, I didn't see you too much tonight, so I guess that was a good thing. Oh, for sure. First and foremost, I want to thank Brian for keeping this league going. It's always fun. I've had a few weeks off, obviously with the kid being born, and kind of been distant from the Discord. So it does feel good to get back here tonight and be able to run. Miss these guys a bunch, so it's been a lot of fun. And Mick over at Falcon Graphics, I'm not running the paint tonight. I feel really bad for that, but I'm not running trucks this season. But shout out to him for making the paints, always keeping them looking awesome. And you up in the booth, obviously, for doing a great job week in and week out.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I didn't realize I had my microphone muted as I was saying that. So we were talking about how it looked like Shappy just got down on the apron and it sent him back up across the track. So again, Will, congratulations on the third place finish. I know it's the All-Star race, but it's good feeling to get out there, get some momentum under you. We look forward to seeing what you do tomorrow night in the duels.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, hopefully I can make that one, but that's still up in the air. But if anything, we'll talk to you later.
Good luck the rest of the season.
Hey, thank you.
So that was our third place finisher, Will Witt. Let's bring in your second place finisher, Dustin Dean. Dustin, you got Josh, Nudie, Hartney, and Edward up in the booth. You got us?
My goodness, how many commentators do y'all need?
Well, we had more at
Holy.
one point, but man, what a run for you tonight. First off, pushing Joe there to the stage 1 victory was incredible. You stayed right there on his back bumper and kept the plan. So congratulations and great job with that. Then you get caught up in that wreck there in that third stage. Looked like you had a lot of damage. I believe you were up on your side at one point. Yet you were able to come back, push Joe to the win, and get yourself up in the second place. How much damage did you have? How much did it affect the truck? And how were you able to get yourself up there?
Okay, so first of all, the first stage, I have no idea how we won on the bottom like we did, but me and Joe, we were we were together like crazy, and so we just made it happen. As far as that wreck, no, I thought I had a bunch of damage. I mean, obviously, I was upside down there for a little bit, and I go into the pits, and it says you're free to go, and so I had 0 damage from that. I don't know what happened. So I went from like 13th to second in one lap. It was crazy.
there was a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah, something like that.
So
Can
how
you
much?
go ahead and bring
How
your
much
truck
did?
over to the hauler? We need to inspect that for illegal material use.
Well,
Mine,
see, we had a special tire that we put on there.
I was gonna say I was gonna ask you how much you paid Stephen Black for those hacks.
Not much, not as much as you would think.
Oh, there you go, man. But great job coming home second place. I know technically you're a rookie in the league. We know you're not a rookie by any means. How much momentum does this bring to you? I know it's a preseason. It's a all-star race, but coming into the season, I know that's got to feel pretty good knowing that you have that speed here coming into the season. Does that bring any momentum to you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it always feels good to finish second, be up there in the mix at the end of a super speedway, and so it was a good practice session for next week. I think more than anything. Uh, but yeah, congratulations to Joe, and I'm looking forward to the season. I really am.
Dustin Dean said it felt good to finish second. I think you have Canuti's notes by mistake. So,
Well, well, I did tell Joe that, hey, I'm going to push you to the end no matter what, and I held to that. Now, it wasn't the way I expected, but it still happened.
But see, he's my type, right? He likes finishing second. That's what I like. That's what we do.
well, there you go.
I,
Well,
That
I
is
picked
correct.
him to win. I picked him to win. That's all I'm going to say.
I appreciate that.
well, Dustin, congrats on the second place finish. Anyone you want to thank? Any shots you got to give here tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Freedom from Religion. A lot of people going through a lot of bad things when they come out of religion, so they are there for you in that case. I'd like to thank the family members that I know I have watching out there. Thank my beautiful wife for letting me run this league with you guys. Thank y'all for putting up with me, and thank the broadcast team, all 17 of you.
Well, if you were watching the race we were watching, we were still 3 short.
Yeah, pretty
There
much.
was carnage everywhere.
Oh man,
Well,
it was
great,
fun, definitely.
great job, Dustin, and we look forward to seeing what the season brings.
Absolutely, thank you guys.
Have a great night. And let's bring in your winner here tonight, the driver of the 82 machine, Joseph Wright. Joe, you got Josh, Dave, Canuti, and Eddie up in the booth. You got us all?
Yeah, man, I got you all.
I was gonna say, did you drop your microphone? Did you forget you had an interview here? Man, what a finish! I mean, the fact we just said it. The fact that Dustin Dean was able to get back to your back bumper to get you that run at the end was incredible. Talk us through the green white checkers and how did you get yourself back up there to the front to get the win?
Well, man, Green White Checker, Shapu, and Will, they did it. They did it right. I mean, they were teaming up. They were trying to make something happen there. And man, I just was able to get actually with my brother Dave. I can't thank him enough, man. The push he gave me on that final lap and the lap before it got us in a position to win that thing. And if it's not for Shapu getting turned there on the blink, I think D Wright comes in second, and Dustin maybe ends up still back in 15th or wherever he was. But man, he came out of nowhere at the end of that thing, and I mean, he was my ride or die all night long. But again, just huge shout out to D Wright for sticking with me there.
I think you owe that man a steak.
I've fed him enough in his life; he'll be all right.
Wait, which one? D Wright or Dustin?
Well, Dustin, I owe a steak for sure. But Dave too. I mean, he, like I said, he's the man. He comes in every week, and he's a force to be reckoned with at super speedways, just like you sometimes, Josh.
For sure. And man, what a wild race here. I know you ended up starting in the back in the second stage, but you're able to get yourself back at the front. You had that average finish just right to get yourself on the outside row of the front row. Did that help you at all, being able to be up front there at the beginning and kind of be able to stay around the front all night long?
I don't know. I think the first 17 laps or so was just awesome racing. Lots of swapping back and forth, the leader rotating through, a lot of give and take, a lot of respect out there from all drivers. You know, a couple of wonky blocks here and there, but for the most part, a really awesome race through and through. I mean, it was just I was having fun. I said to Dustin and Eddie in the channel, like, this is just fun, because Dustin said, let's settle down. I said, no, man, we're having fun.
I mean, that was very. I know most people won't understand this, but that was very F&D-esque right there. That race, everybody kind of swapping positions, but still being respectful and able to keep it clean there. And the trucks looked like they handled like they used to years ago, where they were just on that tad bit of unstable, but still fast.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're pushing on entry to the corner, you get a little wiggle. It was easy to get somebody out of whack if you needed to, and you saw that when needing to make some positions or things happen, people really beating on each other to get them out of a straight line. So it was awesome, man. It was fun.
Well,
Yeah, it was definitely a fun race for me too. Unfortunately, I got knocked out, but Joe, I'm super proud of you. Definitely kicking off the season with a win, locking yourself in the next season's All-Star race, and hopefully we can continue this trend of 1-2s. Hopefully, add a 3 and maybe even a 4 in there, huh?
Yeah, no doubt, man. Big shout out to the team all the way around. Cheeseless Cracker Motorsports, Intensity Broadcasting, bringing the heat up in the booth, man. Congrats to Atman for getting his first win there. You know, in a while since the last, I guess since the last All Star, because that was when he won the other one. So, he needs to keep that going. And man, just great again, Dustin Dean kicking butt and D Wright for that push at the end. Awesome stuff. Shout out to Morris Customs coming on as a sponsor for the trucks this year. Stoked to have him riding on the back of my truck as well. So that's my boy Eddie.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congrats on the win, and we look forward to seeing what you can do the rest of the season. So good luck, and we look forward to it.
Thanks.
Well, boys, that's going to do it for the All-Star race. What a race. What a night of racing, I should say. From start to finish, it was just intense.
Yeah, it was a long one for you for sure. Sorry about that, Josh. You were on there for almost 3 hours.
It's okay. I only have to wake up at 5:30. I only got to be up in 5 hours. We're good.
Well, then let's hurry up and get you off of
I
here.
just want to comment. If that's what he calls fun racing, I want to stay in the back to the end.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be with the pace car.
Well, shout out to the IDBC team coming up with the clutch and sweeping that. Good job, Jeffrey and Atlee. Josh, thanks for having us tonight. It was a pleasure. But some damn good racing, and the season's looking to turn up pretty good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the way this season rolls out. I know it was a short off season. We're back. We're getting ready to do it. I'm excited. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow night as we tune in tomorrow night right here on Intensity Broadcasting for the Devs Sports Cards Xfinity Series duels at Daytona. So you're not going to want to miss that. More super speedway racing, some of the same faces that you saw here tonight, but it's going to be another wild night of racing. Of course, I want to thank everybody for joining us here in the booth. Brian, Dave, Eddie, I guess Cody too. Thanks for joining us here tonight. I do appreciate the help. It's a lot of fun having somebody else in the booth with me here tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining in, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. Don't forget to check out our great partners, including IntensityRacing.com or IntensityBroadcasting.com, The Butt Kicker, and RaceEPI.com. Of course, check out Morris Customs for all your paints and needs. And for everybody here on Intensity Broadcasting, we want to thank you for joining everybody here tonight. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here in the booth. And as always, as our boy Atlee, Atman Weiss would say, over and out.
And out.